welcome back to the very first Freaky Friday of 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, time travelers, interdimensional creepers, Asgardians, Guardians, Alpha Centurions, and who knows what other cryptids listen to this show in this world and in the next. Yes, we're back, we're live. We're going to kick off this year with some real good woo. Look at this, Scotty boy. Happy New Year, my Mexican brother.
Happy New Year, my Scottish brother. And I hope everyone out there had a wonderful Christmas and New Year. And we can put whatever that was that happened over the past year. I don't even, what do we even call that? What everyone experienced? I don't know. I don't know.
One of the biggest. It was one of the biggest updates to the operating system that we've had during our lifetime, Scott.
It definitely was probably one of the most bizarre.
It was the 2012 that never happened.
Surreal. I don't even know how to describe what has taken place over the past 12 months. I don't know. All I know is that we need to push forward. We're continuing on, and hopefully that whole chapter in the timeline stays in that chapter, because man. Whew. So yes.
We can rest assured, though, Scott. This isn't going to be any kind of rest and recuperation in 2021. No. There's already men changing their name to Celine Dion. It's kicked off and it's already got going. It's warming up, Scotty. We've had a bizarre name change. Yep.
You know what? This is what scares me. This is what worries me now. We talk about an exponential curve, our favorite curve, Kev, that exponential curve, right?
Yeah.
What if what just took place over, the past 12 months, if we're on an exponential curve and we end up doubling that?
Yeah. The woo factor doubles again.
The woo factor doubles again. I mean, does it get even more surreal? Does it get even more bizarre?
I think it will, man. We're going to see flying monkeys this year. I'm convinced of it. I truly am. But listen, we have got a third amigo. Yes, indeedy. Kicking off the year in style. Nace, our brother from the Anishinaabe. How you doing on this new lap around our local sun, my friend?
Oh me, oh my, hello and hi on life. I am that I am, identifying as a man or a kumquat, maybe a duck-billed platypi, or a sarcophagus guy,
I'd never thought
or
about
a fun
that.
guy.
Never thought about multiple flat-billed platypus or platypi. Oh, nice. I like it. Platypussies? No, platypussies doesn't work. How you doing, Kevin? How you doing, man? How's your first 3 quarters of a day into 2021? How's it treating you, brother?
I am as fantastic as the universe allows. I have the opportunity to be with my daughters. They gave me permission to be on Freaky Friday, and so they plugged my chair back in, and no, they do not unplug my chair.
I was going to say, man, I was going to send some kind of rescue party, dude. Because I've got a plan. I've got a plan for 2021. I've been watching a documentary and I have got a plan, Kev. I'm going to buy us a cabin in the woods, man. We're going to get a cabin in the woods, and Scott has informed me, haven't you, Scott? There's lots of woods where you come from. So we're going to get
a gully.
We're going to get a shack. We're going to build Bakerville. And the thing is, I've seen how we're not going to do it. Been watching this crazy documentary on Netflix called Wild Wild County. I I thought I was having a Mandela effect because it was like about a group of people in a town in Oregon I'd never heard of before. It was about a religious group, shall we call them, that had come to America, and they had bought up a load of land, and they called the area Rajneesh Puram. And there was this guy called the Bogam. He was the head honcho, Osho, they called him, and they all jumped about in like Aladdin suits that were like, I don't know, kind of purple and pink and all crazy colors. And yeah, you can guess how it turned out, but they ended up like buying up a town, and it was like huge news. One of the biggest kind of domestic bad thing attacks that's ever been carried out in America in 1984. Never ever heard of it. Heard of Waco, but we hear of like the Heaven's Gate people, those boys and girls there. Jim Jones and his troops. I'd never heard of the Rajneesh Puram.
No, I've never heard of this either. I mean, maybe I had, come across it, but this was never something that was really like brought to my attention or on my radar. And so, yeah, I'm going to have to watch this documentary as well, because it seems like a pretty significant sort of event.
Huge.
Everything around what these people were doing, and there was all kinds of
Scott, they were only trying to attain higher levels of consciousness, I'll have you know.
Yeah, it always starts out with that, right?
Just a little bit of yoga here and there. Then it turns into firing practice, and there's a doomsday plot. Oh no, you just don't know how you get there, folks.
It takes the, it's the classic route that all cults, go down.
Nobody ever joins one of them, dude. It was just a harmless pajama party at the beginning. That's all it was,
It always starts out nice and with good intentions, at least on the surface. But what is the intent of the mastermind behind it all?
We've got our own compound over at tfrlive.com/chat, where all of the Woo Crew devotees, will we call them? That's really getting a little bit creepy and a bit too close to one of those groups now. I'm going to make my way over to that little compound that we've got in a second or two, because for some reason they've shut me out of my own compound, Scott. They've locked me out. You know it's a bad day when you've been locked out of your own compound, right?
Oh, wow.
The blue chickens have flew the coup. I'm telling you, man. Is that a coop or a coup? You like that? Yeah.
It's a cave compound because it is the Wookiee cave, right? So it's got to be compounds that are located in a cave inside of the mountain.
We can't tell people where that cave's located, though.
No.
That's like the first rule of the cave. Okay. So Freaky Friday's starting out a bit different in 2020 as well. It's a bit freakier. Now, okay, I'm in there as that, but that's okay as long as I get into... Yeah, I'm in the compound, man. We're in. Damn, dude. Oh, so then, first up is me and my administrator of the organisation, because we're an organisation, aren't we, Scott? We're nothing more than that. We're just a group that gather every Friday. We have...
Yes. It's the harmless meeting amongst like-minded individuals.
There's a gift in there from our good friend Carol. Maybe we should go for that kind of attire. I like the red onesie approach. That could be an idea. So anywho, first up over there at the chat room, we've got BAM, Paradoxical Anomaly. And I would put a lot of money on there being lots of paradoxical anomalies this year coming. All right, we've got the Waffle Buddy. Melissa Taylor, Cold Brews, Psycho Dave 321, Rockin' Rio, Jimmy's friend, big shout out to you. We have got Carol in there as well. So funny the other day on a stream, Scott and Kevin. But I was just getting ready to do a show, and I went in there, I had no content, we were just going to chat. And Carol started talking about how there was this regiment in the British Army that only took like really, really small people under 5'3". I end up, oh, come on, stop. No, it's not. I've been in the army, there's no such thing. Right? I'm like, ridiculous. Who did you hear that from? Well, on about it for ages. Right? Couldn't get over it, Scott. I'm like, oh, damn, a midget patrol. So, you know what, though? Do you know what, Carol? Boom. Link. There was. In 1914, they used to have a specific corps for people that were under 5'3", so they could do special tasks that only we people could do. So there you go. Learn something new every day, dude.
That's it. You know what? You know what I think, Kev? I think this is the motivation. This is the motivation we need for time travel. We need to take you back to a time when
we people were
been-
appreciated.
Yes, when there was a little more respect for people of a smaller stature.
Exactly, dude.
Right?
When people
was
look
a-
down to you, you know, when people really look down to you with respect.
It's an entire military corps, damn it, dedicated.
Very good, I'm telling you, man.
Dedicated.
Pocket rockets. It's the robo-fish, and we have got the hacker. I get a funny feeling it's going to be one of these shows today then, boys. But, whoa, we've got a big crowd in TFR over at the chat room listening live. Big crowd at YouTube as well today for our simulcast. And TalkStream Live. I need to give a shout out to everyone listening on the TalkStream Live. Didn't realise, but like TFR and KBS, we're like regularly in the top 10 over there. Exactly, wow. And I've been reliably informed. That's pretty dope, dude. Pretty dope. So big shout out to everyone listening.
Yeah.
No pressure now. No pressure now, boys. No. Yeah. Look at us all now. Nobody's talking now. Yeah, so listen. If I was to ask you, Nacy, if you looked back at 2020 and we forget about that thing that was going on, what would be the one woo or wonderful story that sticks out in your mind from the year that provided us a plethora of woo and wondrous stories?
Well, in my own little world, I was planning on or attempting of doing that ride, which kept getting messed with in the scheduling because of what was happening with the current situation. But the roller coaster was one of those crazy twilight zones where you just couldn't get off it. And it just kept going around and around and around, but seemingly every time you went clickety-clack up that huge hill, all of a sudden you found yourself going down a different track than the last time. And so it was trying to pick just one thing specifically out of all of it is extremely difficult. But I will make my assumption that the powers that should not be definitely utilize the opportunity to maintain and gain more control.
Indeedy. So, Scotty, if I was to, I know it's hard to pick one out, man. I know it's really hard, right? But where would you go for? What kind of craziness would you go for, man?
Oh man. Okay. Let me think here. Let me think for a second. Because it's hard to pick from the. It's just there was so much going on. I mean, I want to say kind of maybe personally. I mean, I know probably other people have experienced as well. I mean, I know for a fact other people have experienced this as well. But the acceleration of time seemed to really increase just throughout the entire year. It just seemed like we were reaching these marker points very, very quickly. It was just like, like boom, Easter, boom. Next thing you know, it's like we're in the summer, 4th of July. Then it's like, boom, Halloween, boom, Thanksgiving, boom, Christmas. Christmas seemed really strange. I mean, I had a good time and everything, and everybody had fun. I mean, but it just seemed like it came up so quick. It was almost like it didn't feel like Christmas. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow, we're already doing Christmas, you know. And then it just seemed like the blink of an eye, and we're on New Year's. You know, now here we are. We're in 2021. And so, I mean, to me, I mean, personally, I think the acceleration of time thing is, you know, was kind of a thing I noticed a lot during the year. And, you know, there's plenty of woo tied to that. I mean, if it's a phenomenon that everybody is experiencing, well, I don't know about everybody, but it seems like a widely sort of experienced phenomenon where people are noticing this. So I don't know, that was one of the things that I found to be strange. Of course, we had the whole you know, we always got to have one of those weird events. What was it, 2019 we had the Area 51 raid, right? That was the big thing.
Yep.
I think this year what we could consider a 2020's Area 51 sort of phenomena or crazy thing would be the monoliths. Wouldn't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. For some reason, and I'm not saying this was the biggest different woo story, like away from the other thing, but the one thing that's always stuck in my head all year long since the moment we heard about them, those dangerous hornets, you know, the ones, the big bad nasty ones. Remember them?
Yes, the red rum hornets.
Yes,
I'm gonna
like it. Red rum hornets. Oh, I love it, dude. Love it. Yeah.
There we go. We'll just switch it around. But people,
wasn't it Oregon again where they found like some of the hives and they're probably fearing that they've taken root now. They're a part of the thing now, right?
Yeah, you know, when they finally come across, like, when they say, "Oh, we came across the first hive" or whatever, that means there's a lot more out there. You're right. They've already established themselves. They're there to stay, and all they can try to do now is manage it. But they're never going to fully eradicate these things. And
manage it, Scott. If you could catch one, I could probably fit a saddle to it and ride one of them. Those things are horrendous, man. That's like something like an Alfred Hitchcock horror movie. Red rum hornets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really, really, really hope that they do not work their way this far south and east. I hope they stay up in the northwest area.
There must be something in religious texts somewhere. Ancient text that tells and warns of a time when there would be these nasty red rum hornets. I'm telling you,
Captain, my captain, I think our anchor has broken free because it seems we're adrift and up ahead over the starboard brow. I think I'm seeing land.
Is that Speculation Island you're seeing there?
I don't know. We need to get somebody up in the crow's nest, but you know, with those red drum hornets, if we look at the creators of pesticides and herbicides and the impacts that they are having on the insect kingdom, would it not be a great distraction of saying, oh yeah, that's where all the bees went? It wasn't our chemicals that were spraying all over the place.
Maybe. I mean, it would provide a convenient.
No, I'm not having it. I'm just saying they're evolving to have superpowers, and soon they're going to give it 10 years. They're going to be walking down high streets.
Oh,
Telling you, man, it's the rise of the insectoid. Yeah.
Oh, Kev's going full insectoid. All
yeah,
right.
I've gone full at some multi-dimensional level. A decision's been made that our species have failed. We failed, Scott, and we're going to be overrun by big beasties with multiple legs and wings.
Because
Ender's Game.
Because the red rum hornets are actually known as Japanese hornets.
Oh.
That means they come from, like, I think they got a little dose of the
I can tell you what comes next then. if you're dealing with Japanese red rum hornets, the prophecy goes, the last harbinger, Scott, will be those hornets, and followed by that will be the multiple colored dragons out of all the countries of Asia. There'll be red dragons, there'll be white dragons, there'll be ninjas. We're there, dudes.
So-
We're in the eschaton,
Yeah.
man.
Right now, it's the Red Rum Hornet card. Is that what's being played?
The red dragons. It's code. Red rum, red dragons. They done it, and they had to tell us by calling them red rum. We figured it out, boys. We figured it out. Yeah.
Was that in
kind of
I'm sorry, was that in 2019 or was it at the beginning of 2020 when all of a sudden everybody was disclosing about the 13th astronomical sign of the dragon?
Nah, you see this, that Ophiuchus, is that what you call the 13th house? They've been talking about that for years. I remember us covering that years ago. Do you remember that, Scott, when we used to talk about the 13th house of the zodiac? 'Cause
yeah. I vaguely remember.
Didn't Joe fit into it? I think it was Joe that used to fit into it, right? Because he used to feel kind of lost.
Yeah.
Somebody used to fit into it.
Yeah, it's like the 13th sign, and yes, I remember now because we got into a deep discussion about it, and Joe
It
was
comes around every year, I think. I think it comes, but it was
Yeah.
it's like maybe I want to say 4 or 5 years ago that really picked up
Mhm.
popularity. But every year that does come back, causes much
Mhm.
confusion.
Isn't that how the cycles go? Where, you know, if they can keep it coming back in the cycle, then we can look at it again and it just might sell a couple more copies.
Well, you see, that's on you, and that's on everyone not to look at it again. Then that's on us.
Ophiuchus
Yeah,
is the
did I call it Ophiuchus or something?
but it might be Ophiuchus or something like
you
that.
know I always butcher it, Scott. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I also think it has something to do with the discrepancy between the Vedic zodiac and the Western zodiac, and how maybe that 13th one like kind of fits into that gap between the two. That's some of the things that I've heard about it
You know,
as well.
I asked our friend Mary Dacina the other night because I've always space cake.
Thanks, guys.
Oh. There we go. I think we're a thanks, guys, in amongst that music there. Thank you very much, Space Cake.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was asking Mary about the kind of... See, when it comes to all these different types of astrology, you get your Chinese, you get your Vedic. I'm like, where does all the root information come from? Like, who figured out what planet affects what? And I think she took us back to the time of Greeks and things like that. But she said it goes back way, 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 way before that. Way before.
Yeah, I think that's like deep knowledge. That's like deep occulted knowledge that goes way, way back.
Yeah.
To like the ancient priesthood schools and things like that, or
Some
even
sacred
even
code
farther back.
only few get access to, Scotty.
that only like tribal elders understand, and a very small group of people that have that knowledge or whatever. But I think the knowledge of like that astrology and stuff, it goes back to ancient man, and the people that were building megalithic sites aligned to the stars and the constellations, and they had this understanding. I think they understood these cycles, and probably for a very long time there was this sort of zodiac, I guess you could say, a blueprint that had always been followed by many, many different cultures, and so no, you're right. I
What's
think
your
that
favorite planet, guys? What one's your favorite planet? If you
my favorite planet.
Yeah, we never talked about that. Like, you picked one.
You know what? I always had a when I was young and everything, I always had a thing for Neptune. I like Neptune.
Saturn for me when I was a boy because of the rings,
Yeah. But yeah, I liked Neptune because it was kind of like that planet. It was the gas giant that nobody really talked about, right? It was always Jupiter and
it was
Saturn.
left out. It was like the ugly duckling. I get it, man. What about you, Nacy? Nacy, you got about 30 seconds. Get yours in.
I would say that the planet that is now the asteroid belt has been my biggest obsession.
Oh, nice.
Hey, and the one up.
Go ahead.
No, we're on the break, boys. We're on the break. When we come back, we're going to run through the top 10 weird stories for 2020. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're just getting warmed up in our first show of 2021. Yes, and we're still here on the YouTubes. And we've got 127 people in here today. Wow, that's a record for KBS2, for sure. Thank you all for being here. I hope you're all having a really freaky start to your 2021. Rest assured, it's going to get crazier from here on in. And when I opened the show today, I talked about a story where literally a drunk man, really shouldn't have to be said that he was drunk, really, but he's gone and changed his name to Celine Dion, boys. I mean, I like myself a little bit of Celine Dion if maybe I've broke up in a relationship or feeling a bit crazy or, man, I feel like a woman or something. And I know she didn't sing that, but to change your name to Celine and then go with it the next day when you sober up.
I don't know if I'm so down with Celine Dion after that creepy. Remember the commercial with the clothes for toddlers and all of that weirdness? I don't know.
Oh, you know me, Scott. I'd be willing to turn a blind eye to that. Come on, man.
I know Kev likes a little bit of crazy in his coffee, so it.
I like a couple of shots of crazy. Yeah. So, Kev, have you ever felt the inkling to change your name to I don't know, Dolly Parton or anything like that? I mean, me personally, I've never had the notion to go changing my name.
When I was younger and in the band days and confused moments, I wanted to change my name to Devin Black.
Nice. Oh, that's a cool name, dude.
That is a cool. It's a very rock star sort of name. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Devin Black.
Right?
I like it, man.
Yeah, back in the day when I was a dark sider and I used to dye my hair black and wear all my earrings and piercings and yeah.
Looking cool, man. Looking cool, Kev, I bet you.
Well, anything that looks so anti-military, I had to go the full spectrum, the opposite.
Well, Kev, not in a purely friendly heterosexual way, you were a damn fine-looking man in those photographs I've seen of you when you were back in your uniform and that, dude. You must have been leaving a little trail of ladies in your wake. I'm thinking here,
I cannot confirm or deny.
I like that, man. You're an officer and a gentleman. Look at him.
That I may or may not have had the opportunity to have incredible moments with the female gender.
I like it, dude. I like it. I wonder how many of them are still female. Boom, boom. Hey, you never know nowadays. Hey, you can change your name to Celine Dion. That's all I'm saying, guys. All I'm saying. Jeez Louise, calm down, boys. Algorithm, go away.
I mean, if he can change his name to Celine Dion, then I mean, it's not as bad as like some of the names that like these celebrities give their children, right?
There's some crazy names out there. I'll give you that, dude.
The most brilliant name change I do think was when Prince changed his name into that symbol.
That was epic.
The artist formerly known as
just
Prince.
Made my mum weak at the knees because you mentioned Prince. Oh, dear Lord.
Pearly?
Oh, she'll be all purple rained up about now, man. Prince was the
I
boy.
never meant to cause you any sorrow.
Oh, Prince was
I
the
never
one.
meant to cause you any pain.
Oh, wow. Hang on now. Don't. Hey, we'll get hit for a copyright strike. That was too good. Here we're coming back. We're coming back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And for one night only, I'd like to present to you the artist formerly known as Nacy. Dang, dude, you were giving us a tune during the break. You really have got a good bit of a singing voice going on there, right?
Well, I wish I would have listened to my choir instructor my senior year, who chastised and yelled at me and said that I was given a gift by God, and it was a shame that I was wasting it. And he did encourage me to try to get a couple singing scholarships with some universities. But somehow I got convinced to join the Navy. But, oh well, it is what it was.
Yeah. Anyone musical around you, Scotty? Anyone in the family in that way inclined?
My brother plays guitar.
Right.
My sister plays the viola and the piano.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, there's a lot of love for music in my family in general. Not just like my grandfather was big into music. I have his vinyl collection. Like I have an original pressing of Dark Side of the Moon from Pink Floyd from like 76 on vinyl.
Hey,
So
76ers, great year. Yeah.
I think that's when Dark Side of the Moon came out, right? 76.
Who cares? That's when I came out, wasn't it, Pearly? Yeah. Boom, boom.
Yeah. I got like
Oh, now, hang on, boys, hang on. We've got somebody called Blue Raven over on Discord. Over on YouTube. And they said, earlier I called WLNG FM radio and dedicated a song going out to Kev Baker and the Woo Crew. That is absolutely epic. Thank you very, very much, Blue Raven. I hope you have a wonderful 2021. We're taking over the airwaves, guys.
We are. We're taking over other radio stations.
Yeah.
Our influence is spreading. Our tentacles are entwining.
We're
and
taking names and kicking ass. Scotty and Kev.
Yeah.
Resistance is futile.
Exactly. So, are you going to give us a couple of lines of Purple Rain, Kev? I don't think it'll get us copyright because, you are good, but you're not Prince good. Nobody's Prince good, right? Imagine I come off the show. Imagine I come off the show and it says Prince was singing on your show. How the hell did you do that?
We are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Electric word life, but I'm here to tell you there's something else. The afterworld. No, now you got me on the spot about singing, so maybe before we go out on a break, I might throw out a couple licks.
He's going to surprise us, Scott, isn't he? He's going to surprise us, man. I know it. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So here we go, right? Unexplained Mysteries. That's the website myself and Scotty and Kev and whoever else usually comes on to Freaky Friday. We often go here. Probably I should be paying them money, the amount of content ideas they give me during the year. Oh, they're good.
It's a good source of woo. It's a very, very it's a very, very deep well that continues to produce
Well, my friends the Gherkins over in Poland, big shout out to you guys. They've given me a new trough to feed from, Scott. I'll be unveiling that website later on today. It's a beauty. Some good stories there. But it says here, if we look back at our 10 most viewed stories at the end of what could have been, or of what has been, a particularly challenging year. So here are the 10 top stories from 2020 based on the number of views. What we'll do is, we've seen a couple there, but I'll just read them out so people can't see them coming, right? We'll make it a surprise, Scott, you know?
Yes.
Number 10, strange creatures filmed in Argentina and Brazil. So we come over here. It says 2 videos have recently emerged showing unidentified creatures lurking around in the darkness. Little is known about the footage other than it was uploaded onto image video sharing site Imager and was later picked up by our good friend Lon Strickler over at...
Oh, nice.
I'm going to get his Lon for Freaky Friday, boys. He would be perfect, right? So it's picked up by Lon, and it says the creatures in the 2 clips are thought to have been filmed on separate occasions in different South American countries, Argentina and Brazil, and are not directly connected. The first, judging by the background noise, was filmed in a suburban area and shows the creature which sort of resembles, oh boy, a wolf-like animal skulking around behind some garden furniture. Is that like a dog man then, do you think?
You know, Kev, this is interesting because it was a couple of months ago. I was actually watching a show and they were discussing these wolf-like chupacabra kind of dog cryptid sort of animals that are being spotted in Brazil and Argentina, you know, down in South America. And they were they had a team and everything go down there and were investigating to see if they could catch one of these things on film or find any evidence of it and stuff like that. And these things are being spotted in more urban areas as opposed to out in these like rural areas. They're thinking that they're starting to kind of encroach or feel more comfortable coming into sort of these suburban areas or these areas that are just kind of on the edge of more populated areas. And these things are taking out people's chickens and livestock and things like that, and they don't know what's going on. You know, people were wondering if it was the chupacabra or what, but no, it's very interesting. Definitely, I think something going on down there.
I'm going
No
to turn
doubt.
this up and people will be able to hear it. I know, granted, people on radio, but it does say you hear strange noises here, so we'll try it. We'll see what it sounds like. Here we go. Yeah, that sounds pretty wolf-like to me. I'll give you that.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Whoa. Whoa. What is that?
Whoa. Was that thing on its hind legs?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to drop this over at the
was-
chat room on TFR, folks.
Holy crap.
Describe what that kind of is, Scott, for Kevin, if you
Okay,
would.
so yeah. So it kind of looks like there's a broken down structure or something. It's white and it's kind of standing up, and there's some like foliage and stuff around it. But right behind this this structure, you can see what appears to be. Was that the head?
Yep.
Of this creature? Kind of like it's standing behind it, so you don't get a full view of what it is. But it's like it stands up from.
Look at that.
Yeah, like it peeks up.
Look at the big nose on it. It's got
behind-
like a big, huge, long nose. Look.
Yeah.
Kind of like a lycanthrope.
Whoa.
That's the image that comes to head. But you know,
No,
you
you're
remember that?
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
You're that's exactly kind of what I'm thinking. Is like a lycanthrope or something like that. Some kind of a. This isn't just like a wolf on 4 legs. This is some kind of like dogman kind of thing.
Well, if I may
look, I'm telling
speculate,
you right now, right? Look at and I know radio people, but it's almost on 4 legs and then stands up. And it stands up and you can get a good few frames because I'm going slowly there. And as I move it frame by frame, all of a sudden it starts to blur. And in the next frame, it's gone.
Yeah, like it was crouched on all fours behind that little structure, and then it popped up on its hind legs.
You know what
and
else
just
makes that look really real? That guy absolutely he browned his drawers. Watch the way the camera goes flying when that thing takes off. Look, he's out of there.
Yeah, he's like, F that, I'm gone.
That does look like a troll as well. It looks like a Norwegian troll.
It's a very deformed kind of.
Oh, I tell you something, nothing good comes from that.
Well, we know about chimeras.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you remember, there was a movie and a book by Dean Koontz called Watchers. And the premise of the book was they engineered a dog for the military. I believe and think or feel that these dogmen are genetically created soldiers that are utilized to hunt down and capture all these crypto animals.
I love it. I want to write that book as well. I want that to be true, Kevin. That's one of the best theories I've heard. And that's good though, Scott.
It's pretty good. Pretty
If
good.
you're
I
going to
like
make
it.
an interdimensional kind of creepy, cryptid kind of interdimensional super soldier, what better way than to make it like a creepy cryptid to the realm where it's going and the things it's after?
Well, look at the hieroglyphs of the Egyptians and how they had these human forms with these animal heads. And the one that was prevalent was the jackal.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, you have to fight fire with fire, Kev.
Yeah, oh, good point, Scotty boy. Good point. But that thing is that's one of the scariest videos I've seen. How did we
That's
not
a-
know that? How did we miss this in 2020? That's how bad a year it was. We missed this.
Exactly. That's how insane the year was. Is that there's so much stuff going on that there's
Freaky
stuff-
Friday would have to be 7 hours a
Look
week
at it. It actually looks
in order
at
to
him.
stay on
Look.
top of the stories.
It looks at him. Oh my God. Oh.
the twisting its head like that, like it's.
I've actually got the goosebumps. That is horrendous. Horrendous. Okay then. So if we go, that's only number 10 on their list. Right. So if we go back now and I'll give us number 9. So, well, this is quite good. An underground entrance or entrances to Area 51 discovered. I remember this one. I do remember this. Remember this? Pictures of the holes in the side of the mountain. You can see the shadows. I'll read it here. An eagle-eyed Google Earth user has identified what appears to be several underground tunnel entrances. Right, let's stop there, boys. Deep underground military bases. Oh, hell yes, there is. And anywhere where there's military ground, I would imagine it's going to be very common, in my opinion, that you're going to find these little bits of the mountain where you get roads going in, you know, and where they go, well, no one knows. Deep underground military bases, boys. What do you think, Scotty? And then Kev.
It's interesting that we have shifted to the topic of dumbs, because later on in the show, I'm going to bring up a story that has me speculating that there may be a dumb that could possibly be involved in said story. So,
Dum dum.
No better time than the present.
yeah, so I shall save that for a little bit later. But yeah, no, definitely, there's got to be all kinds of different access points going to Area 51. You know, we're talking about a black project site, and there's stuff that they want to keep hidden. I mean, just logically speaking, from a from a military point of view, you wouldn't want anything sitting on the surface that enemy satellites or reconnaissance could see, right? So you're gonna have to put your stuff underground, or if you're going to be moving sensitive, project stuff that you don't want any prying eyes to be seeing, you're going to have to move that stuff underground. And so of course there's going to be tunnels, there's going to be underground railways, everything to be moving these.
You reckon they've got the maglev down there, Scott? There's rumors that they've got those down there. Do you think so? I think so.
I think this is all part of the interconnected underground network that connects everything under the United States, from
Alternative 3.
Yeah, from Colorado to
if you pictured underneath the surface of America, I picture it like Colorado to be like some gigantic HQ, and then just everything coming off it like spider webs, man.
Yes, exactly. That's what I think. I think wherever that whole area, like maybe around Cheyenne Mountain,
the Dungeon Master on the computer game, if you've seen the map of it all, you'd be like, oh no, there's like trillions of miles of this we need to do.
Colorado is like the hive of Raccoon City. It's the deep underground main base, and then everything branches off from that. And I think those tunnels go across the entire U.S. I think they go that they're interconnected, like you said, like spider webs. And
Australia and the UK. We've got Rudlow Manor here. That's one of the reported ones, if memory serves me. I would imagine every seat of government building in any country has got underground components to it, and they'll have tunnels coming off that going to where? More networks,
I guarantee. Look, I bet you there's an access point you can go into from Washington, D.C., and you can go all the way to Colorado and never.
You ever seen the videos with the trucks going through and you just see like miles and miles of depots and bays and roads going off it, and you're like, that is literally another world under there, but quite literally the underworld,
Yeah, there's an entire, I would say, infrastructure built underneath us.
Allegedly, from North America to South America, the indigenous or Paleo-Americans talk about such tunnels.
Well, we've got the ones over here as well, guys. I know people are fed up hearing me saying it, but Scotland to Turkey, the tunnels that were found. Yeah. Well, they were talked about a few years ago, but if we come over here now, the pictures of them, we always look at the pictures and then we pause because there's something very wrong when you see the size of these tunnels. They look like they're not for, well, they look like they're for people my size, maybe even smaller, but they look again, you talked about this all the time though. The cavernous earth. I mean, there's one of the pictures we looked at with Jason. Erdstall tunnels, that's where the little people would be living and things like that underground. And it's okay.
Look, this whole construction, this whole thing of tunnels, as a protective measure or this kind of underground network thing, this isn't something new. I mean, we're talking about like this stuff from Area 51 to Colorado and a lot of this COG, continuity of government infrastructure building. But the whole premise of underground tunnels, has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years because it's the most effective way of concealing and hiding and shielding yourself from a multitude of different things that could be, deadly. Hell, you go into underground tunnels to protect yourself from solar radiation.
Exactly. Yeah, and if meteors were to hit or something, Kevin, they would have. That's why they've got these things all backed up, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And in the military strategic aspect of it, you always want to have higher ground. And if these mountains provide higher ground and they have if they have the structure to support, such things, why not? It makes perfect logical sense. And they talk about Mount Weather just outside of, wasn't it
Have you ever
Mount
watched
Weather, right?
Have you ever watched the TV show The 100? Any of you guys? Mount Weather
Yes.
comes up in Mount Weather comes up in that, doesn't it, Kevin?
Yep.
Yep, that's where there's a big catastrophe coming, and they send everyone's living off planet like Elysium, and then they send the 100 down, Scott. The first 100 to come down here. But when they come down after being up there for generations, you better believe they found people still down here that lived through all the crap that was going on. Great show. Great show. I love it, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, this is a thing that we've seen talked about throughout history, throughout these, like tales and legends and and mythos, where, I mean, look at the Anastasi down in the southwestern United States, where they said that, well, there's your insectoids, Kev.
Now, was that down? Is that like? I know I'm dead naive here, but is that like in and around Sedona? Is that kind of area? No.
Yeah, yeah, it's all down like Arizona and
yeah. I'd love to go there, man. Sedona and all that. It looks gorgeous, man. Gorgeous,
Yeah, everything from like West Texas all the way across the Southwest into Southern California. It's that crazy desert country, man.
There's something about there though, guys. Like when I've seen pictures of Sedona and people there, and I know it's like almost like a new agey retreat place where everyone goes, but there's something when you look at the land there. It's very similar to what you see down in Australia as well. It's one of the areas of America that really gives you a sense, just from looking in, that there's a lot of age to it. It's got a lot of history there, lots of barren and things, the stories that could be told,
That's why I find the stuff with the Aborigines and the Australian, all of that. There's so many similarities. There's so much synchronicity that goes on with a lot of the stuff in the desert Southwest that it's like, wow, it's almost like at one point they were connected in a way.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Kevin, have you not got a date that you can announce, and Scott's going to be blown away when you tell him what show we're kind of lining up? Do you want to tell people about that?
Well, I mean, you're the captain, and if you're giving me permission,
of course,
then...
bro, go for it. You're putting it together with the good people, Donnie and Luna and everyone. So tell people what's happening.
Well, we have come up with a date of doing the conclusion, or the added Northern Hemisphere meets Southern Hemisphere with our wonderful Australia family.
Australia.
And so Donnie and Luna may grace us on Freaky Friday, if all things work well, on the 15th of January.
That's like 2 weeks, so that's going to be good, Scott, right?
Yeah. That's going to be very good, and I'm going to love it because, this could help maybe connect some dots or add some more data points to my whole thought process about how the Southwest, and the indigenous peoples there, seem to have this very similar thing going on with the indigenous people of Australia, and it seems like a lot of the oral stories that were passed down, the legends, and a lot of the stuff that the Anastasi talk about as well, the petroglyphs, very similar petroglyphs that you find.
The thing I find as well, Scott, right, that it's definitely, I think you're going to get your connection.
Mm-hmm.
When I talked to Luna and Donnie, and I think it was Bruce Fenton and Jess as well, there's this thing about big ginger fellas, like ginger-haired big people. Ginger hair, Scott. Anytime anyone mentions ginger hair, I think of Scotland and Ireland. And then I think of Mexico, right? You know why I think of Mexico? Because I love boxing. Love boxing, right? One of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world right now is Canelo. Canelo's a crazy Mexican. He's also a ginger-haired crazy Mexican. So I don't know, Scotty boy. I'm going to ask you, is there a ginger thing in Mexico?
Yes, my brother TJ, when he lets his beard grow out, right? He lets his beard grow out, and then the sun starts hitting on it. The ginger starts coming out in his beard.
Well, fiddle me timbers, eh?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
and if I may add to that, Woo, there is the hint of red in my mother's hair. And I think I may have shared this with you before, Kev, but my mom is literally enthralled with the bagpipes.
Oh, the bagpipes. Can't beat a bit of bagpipes. Kevin McCairn was playing that over on his channel yesterday. A big shout out to Dr. McCairn. Remember, check out his YouTube channel. But I was sitting listening to him playing the bagpipes, and it got me in the mood, Scott. Got me in the mood to go on and spend 2 hours with them, unleashed. We'll be back after the break. More to come on the first Freaky Friday of 2021. No idea where that crazy voice came from. I think Dave took over there. He just kind of pushed down. Dave, stop it, man.
Hey.
155 people here. So on that note, I'm going to get really, really embarrassed and really kind of nervous and things, and I'm going to step away for a moment because I need to go and grab something before we... PPP, ladies and gentlemen, yes. Smoke them if you've got them. Yep, one of those ones.
So yes, that should be a very, very good show with Luna and Donnie and Naysay. I think the discussion that's going to take place is going to be mind-blowing. I just have a feeling it's going to be one of those shows that it's going to be one of those things that like you'll probably have to go back and listen to again because the amount of the amount of knowledge that's going to be dropped on people isn't going to completely register. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to like go back and listen.
What show is this? What show are we talking about?
The upcoming Australia meets I think, like I said, I think the amount of knowledge that's going to be dropped when you throw Naysay in there and we start really getting to the meat and potatoes of a lot of this stuff and the synchronicities and similarities. I think it's going to blow a lot of people's minds.
I've got to get ready because it's weird, dude. I think I was on Walkabout with Donnie in a previous life, man. I don't know, but I know him. I feel like I know him. He's familiar. Rarely get that feeling, but I do get that feeling with Donnie, and it's strong.
You want me to give you a quick example about our relationship so far?
Big time, dude. Because I tell you, I told Luna, Kevin, I told Jess, I said, it's like Bizarro Land weird, right? So come on, tell us more.
So me and Luna, we've been talking, and it's been a delightful experience. And Donnie is trying to get things connected, literally, to be involved more. And so someone reaches out to somebody else, and then a message gets relayed to me, and they're like, hey, we just want to let you know that you need to finish that ceremony that you didn't. And I just started laughing because when I did my winter solstice fast, because of the circumstances of time constraints with my ex-partner and getting my daughters here and doing ritual or ceremony, we weren't able to do a full-on ceremony. And so it was just this big old ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. We got us a winner. And this entity definitely, reminded me, when you start these rituals and these ceremonies, then if you don't continue them, then you take away the energy of it, the power of it, the essence of it. And so I appreciate the reminder, and it's those things that we need to do to keep each other on task, because we can manipulate the fields, and collectively we have a better opportunity to manipulate those fields. So what are we waiting for?
I like it, man.
Yes, indeed.
A big shout out to Pearly. Yeah, she's listening in right now. Like to see that first Freaky Friday of the year, Mother. I hope you're enjoying it. I sound like
never
Norman
meant
Bates
to
when I
cause
do that,
you
though.
any sorrow.
Oh, there he goes again. Here we go. Come on, man.
I
Give us
never
it.
meant to cause you any pain. I only want to turn around and see you laughing. I only want to see Pearly laughing in the purple rain.
More like a purple rinse age.
Purple.
She's a oh, boom boom. She would kick my ass if I was there right now. Kevin, that is tremendous, man.
Oh, meek witch. Thank you.
No shit, dude. That's wow. Like shit, dude. I'm really like here we go. Wow.
I'm blushing.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for the delay. I am blown away here, Scotty. We all love Nacy because he's Nacy. He comes on with this unique look at the world. He's always positive. He always leaves us feeling better than we did do before he came on. And we know he's into the music and he's mentioned being a singer before and stuff like that. Oh, wow. Pearly's well impressed because it's like he is almost like channeling the artist formerly known as Prince, dude. Wow.
Very impressed. Very impressed. You know what? I think I'm gonna have to give you a new nickname, Nacy. I'm gonna call you Karaoke Kev.
You know what might be good? You know what might be good, guys? If I could get like Ryan Gable, because we found that Ryan Gable was like Eminem. He just came out of nowhere and just started laying down these tracks, man.
Well, yeah, what was up? Like, I had no idea that Ryan Gable had that
Weapon.
tool in his repertoire. That
weapon in his arsenal.
Yeah, and he flies out of nowhere and he drops these like fire rap tracks.
Yeah, but then you have the rapping, right? And then you have like our alter Prince just coming right in at the back on with some. Now they come on, dude. We might actually get something happening with this here, man.
Maybe we need to drag. Maybe we need to drag Ken Webb out of retirement.
Get the Geo to put down some beats for us, man. You think about it, boys. You mentioned Ken Webb. We've got Kevin. We've got Chris and Cherie Geo. You know, you think of the musical people that we do have around us. It's weird, right? There's a
lot of musicians that like a lot of people that are into music and make music that we associate with.
Creativity thing. Is it? Are we all artists? Am I an artist with the podcast? Are we artists on Freaky Friday?
Johnny Whistles.
Absolutely.
He played guitar. Remember Whistles plays guitar. Whistles and Ken Webb did a track together. Remember?
Yep. I might even pull up some of Whistle's SoundCloud later on if I remember. And because he wicked on the guitar, mate. Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude.
So, hey.
Well, in my experience, music has always been a full spectrum of feelings, and I think a lot of people can agree where music can, it can bring you really low. And it can bring tears to your eyes, but then it can lift you up and bring tears of joy to your eyes. So it's such a powerful thing.
You've got the obvious vibration thing, right? But would you agree, being a musician, you'd know better than me, a lot of it's numbers. And I've heard people saying many times that music and math, they go together. It's like the divine numbers, the divine math. If you try and play the notes that go with a bad number, horrible, no worky. But there's certain numbers that work and beats and
definitely, and
it's like a science, then, dude. So it's like a science,
It's, as you know, I mean, I'm a huge music fan, right? I mean, I listen to. I don't just listen to heavy metal. I mean, that's the main genre of music that I enjoy listening to, but I listen to a wide spectrum of different music. Everything from you know experimental electronic stuff. I like jazz. I like classical. Anything that takes some talent and challenges the listener. I like a lot of complex music, and a lot of the stuff I listen to probably wouldn't resonate with a lot of people, just because I like listening to like challenging stuff. But no, you're right. I mean, there's
Well, I forgot one. We've got I don't know if you watch Warrior Mode, but Bill Bean has got one of the finest collection of guitars I've ever seen.
I noticed that. I was about to say Bill Bean. I noticed he
Well,
had
how
some
about
guitars.
this then? How about this and how about I get as Billy Joel? Was it Billy Joel? Yep. How about I can get as his drummer, Liberty DeVito? He's like a friend. He hangs out on Warrior Mode, dude. He like traveled around with Billy Joel for however many years, man.
Yeah.
Dude, we'd have like an orchestra at this rate, right? Like feed the world. We're bringing the world together, man.
The Bakerville Stirs.
Something like that.
The Bakerville Stirs.
We're gonna have one of those. Remember they used to do? Well, wasn't that the big thing back in the '80s where they used to have all of the musicians come together for some kind of a
feed the world? Yeah.
We could have like everybody from I don't know.
We need to be careful,
sphere.
Scott. We need to be careful. We opened this show declaring that we had intentions to find ourselves a compound. Now we've got ourselves a marching band. Uh-oh.
I was about to say, this is how it begins.
Like, wow, man, we need to like just go to the Wookiee cave and bring our drums and sit around and have like a drum circle,
Exactly, Kevin. Exactly. We need to be careful.
This is how it starts. Hey, remember Uncle Charlie in the 60s? He was a musician, right?
Yeah, but like we said, it always starts with the best of intentions, and nobody woke up in the morning with the intention of joining one of those things, It just happens.
Next thing you know, somebody's loading a bagpipe with some strange powder and...
Oh, I'm telling you. So listen, right? Will we get back into our crazy Wookiee? It's a good rundown so far, isn't it?
This is a very good...
Here we go.
Yep.
You enjoying this one, Nacy? This is good, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
then. So number 8. Oh, I do remember this. Great story. A man discovers a UFO crash site in the woods. This was in the UK. Remember, there was a massive clearing had been touched down. It was like massive. There was no trees round about. Like something that just basically boom, boom, right in the middle of the woods, landed and taken off again. Man from Plymouth, England, has filmed a peculiar area of flattened trees in the middle of a Devon wood. Ben Landicombe came across the unusual scene near Medan on July the 4th. Hey, while walking his dog. It was a drunk Independence Day alien invader. They got it wrong. They just down in England.
You know what it was? It probably was one of my neighbors that fired some ungodly mortar from some illegal mortar that they bought from Missouri, and
you see that if that conversation ever took place in the UK, there would be so many alarm bells triggered that there'd be SWAT teams coming in through the window. You'd be getting dragged out with a hood over your head. Damn, Scott just drops it nonchalantly in there where he lives. People are kicking about with illegal mortars.
Hey, that's just how the 4th of July rolls around.
I know,
here, Kev.
Scott. It's just like the people over here. I love America, dude. I'd be right there with them, right? But over here, some people must be like, see those crazy Americans. I mean, what do they need mortars for?
It's very difficult to get the plutonium for the flux capacitor.
Isn't it, Kev? Isn't it? I mean, they're even fresh out on the dark net. I don't know what I'm going to do for the next 10 to 15 months forward and back. So it says, I stopped to take the dog for a walk in the woods as we were camping, and the trees were snapped at the top. And that was what I thought was strange. Sure enough, the footage does appear to show a large area of flattened and bent trees arranged in such a way as to suggest that something heavy had fallen down on top of them. Just like a glitch in the Matrix, right? We took pictures of them and then felt someone was watching us and heard weird sounds, so we ran back to our camper. It was like, remember digging into this, that was like, it turned into a bit Men in Blackish type action, people like in a Land Rover, like a very this worldly vehicle, you know? Weird, dude.
Well, almost
Wasn't there
like
also like some indentations on the ground, like there were like impressions, like something heavy sat down on the ground, something like that also?
I'd be lying if I
Something's
said
definitely crashed here. Look at this. Weird.
and that's all I'll play of that because it's been bought by a viral video company. The guy, I hope the guy made a good bit of money out of it. But I don't remember the indentations, Kevin, but that doesn't mean, because I mean, that could very well have been found in the subsequent investigation. I mean, it would make sense. I mean, imagine if that was the case. You've got the big area, and then you've also got like things that would represent maybe landing kind of wheels or feet or bizarre, just bizarre.
that's crazy. I don't know. I don't know how to explain that one other than, I mean, something had to have knocked those trees down. It was something large.
Paul
Yes,
Bunyan.
yeah.
Maybe it was Paul Bunny. Who knows? I don't know.
So then, right, we're on to number 7 now, which is actually a really good one as well. The mystery of the stone formation found in the Great Lakes. A team of researchers has discovered a mysterious stone formation beneath the Straits of Mackinac, known as Search Inc. The group, which is mostly made up of Native American tribal citizens, had been using a remote-operated underwater vehicle to carry out a cultural assessment of oil and gas pipelines on the lake bed when they came across what appeared to be an artificial stone formation. The find could have considerable significance, especially given that the last time this region was not completely underwater was, you ready? 10,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age. Says, we didn't expect to find this. It was just really amazing, said the group member Andrea Pierce. My question is, who knew they were there? It's certainly not the first time something like this has been found in the region. Back in 2009, the University of Michigan discovered familiar formations in Lake Huron in Alpena. The latest find has sparked some degree of controversy given that the discovery does turn out to be significant. It could halt further underwater infrastructure development in the area. You know what I find interesting about that, Kev? One of the things that has really intrigued me this year, I've got to learn more about the stone circles in Loch Ness, the Clynehenge, as they call them. And we often talk about how the surface of the planet, it obviously looked different, you know, sea levels have risen, stuff like that. And it makes me wonder whether it's Clynehenge in Loch Ness, whether it's the one there in Mackinac that they're talking about. The stuff that remains unseen, guys, even around Oak Island this year, off the coast, they're searching now, and they're finding huge evidence of, well, you need to watch it, I don't want to give any spoilers out. It's that layers of history, you know, when the sea levels were lower, that what a story we're starting to really pick up on, you know, and with things like LiDAR and stuff like that, and as technology gets better, you'd like to see more of these secrets coming to the surface, pardon the pun, right?
Yeah, no doubt. It makes me think of the pyramids that they were finding in Wisconsin. That there was these underwater pyramids in a lot of these lakes, and you're right. I mean, look, we talk about these cataclysms, like that Randall Carlson discusses, right? And that at one point the sea level was 400 feet shallower than it is now. And it just makes you wonder how much of this, of a lot of these ancient structures have fell, or that are now underwater and haven't been discovered yet. It's I think there's a lot of this stuff out there that we've just scratched the surface when it comes to a lot of this stuff, and there's a lot of these structures that we probably might think that they are natural structures, but are probably man-made, right? Look at the pyramid in Bosnia, right?
Oh, great shout.
Yeah, the pyramid in Bosnia was, thought to just be a natural mountain, but then as you start looking more into it, it's like that really probably is not a natural structure. And how many of those do you think exist,
The
around
Gimpy, that one we talked about in Australia before, the Gimpy, it looks kind of overgrown like this. Nothing like the size, Scott, but almost turned it into a natural feature because it's kind of growing over and things.
How many of these things do you think we just mistake for a natural mountain or a hill or something like that, when it actually is something a lot more? And I think these things are they're just scattered all over the globe.
Graham Hancock, in his new book about ancient America, and he's talking about South America and North America and how they're using satellites and they're using these different means of looking at the topography of the countries of North America and South America, and they're finding, all of these monolithic or just strange anomalies that don't look natural, that they had been more man-made. And one of the biggest challenge with my ancestors, since they were all the woodland natives, they built all of their structures out of wood. And so wood just, goes back to the earth. So there's not a lot of, artifacts, that show these huge monumental structures. But when
Kev,
you look,
if you have something like a mud flood, perhaps, though, maybe that wood then gets preserved. And one of these new technologies you're talking about, maybe flash LiDAR, something like that. I mean, you think of the boat-like structure they found in the swamp, the scans that they used to find that over on Oak Island. I'm thinking they could use stuff like that to find that wood, Kev. Maybe even the minerals that it breaks down into. That's how precise these kind of sciences are getting now when you're looking at things, right?
Right. Well, my senior paper at university was about the Hoover Dam, and through my research that the Army Corps of Engineers specifically selected that location because they knew by creating the dam that, Lake Mead would cause the flooding of these ancient sites. And so now these ancient dwellings are buried under, I think, like 100 feet of silt and soot, or not soot, but silt from the creation of Lake Mead. And then you start looking at all of these other dam sites around the country, and then you find out these native villages that were flooded out that were of major significance historically.
I'm going to bring something up on the screen here. I've sent it over to TFR. Anyone on TalkStream Live or anything, you can go to the chat room at tfrlive.com/chat. We're on YouTube as well. But we look at this here. We're going to go back to the year of 1976. And we're looking at the MIT Museum. I'm going to bring up a picture here, and what you're looking at is the stone circle anomaly that was potentially beneath Loch Ness. I think it's something like 30 feet in size, something like that, if I come back here. Significant, though, very significant. It doesn't actually have the size of the... From memory, I think it's about 30 feet in diameter, anyway, but it's significant, and there's one or two other concentric circles as well. Very interesting. They're almost, maybe it's pareidolia, but in the centre of it, it looks like there might be a little inner circle, which would be even more interesting because just across the road from there, literally just miles away, is Clava Cairns. And Clava Cairns, it's like they've got the Keystone Circle where it's a stone circle, lovely, all these stones tightly packed, and then a fine passageway into an inner circle. And that would line up with the solstice on the sunrises. And when I think about, it wouldn't surprise me if you were to orientate this here. There's a line coming away from this circle. Wouldn't surprise me if that points to where the sun rises. Scott. Wouldn't.
It actually does look like, if you look at the bottom of that circle, that there's maybe like an entrance, right there, right where you're pointing, that.
Yeah. I mean, that's where it would be on the Clava one. You just walk down a fine passage and it's a wee tiny hole,
So it seems like this was a common structure, that was being built and aligned with.
We could date this one because the Picts that built Clava, they were around in the 5th century, AD, and then the Vikings and things came across, and funnily enough, the Picts, and I think the Vikings and the Picts got on well, but I need to look into that. It's a piece of history that I'm interested in really diving into. Maybe do shows on, but just on a personal level. Love the Viking kind of stuff. I mean, those shows we done with Max Scotty, they were unforgettable. They were the kind of shows that you listen to and you could listen to again and again. You find similarities, I think. A lot of similarities in Scotland. And I was listening to Chris Anatra, the quantum businessman, if you want to throw a right bit of woo in here. And he obviously does the whole Mandela effects. He's talking about time travelers now, time cops, time traveling babies. Check it out before you knee-jerk react to some of the topics that I heard you saying there, because I tell you, I sat and watched an hour-long video last night that blew my mind. But in there he shows the World Fair from Chicago, and I think it's back in the late 1800s. And it's this recreation of something that looks like something straight out of Rome, right? I mean, it's crazy, Scott. They build this place up in like no time at all. But one of the big major displays on show there is a Viking ship. Now, back late 1800s, I don't think many people were talking about the potential for Vikings being there before Christopher Columbus and things like that. But they celebrated Christopher Columbus not as the guy who discovered America. He was just a known trader that would come across. So how so hang on a minute, hang on. So those people like 150 odd years ago or 120 years ago, they've got a different history than we've got today. And they were celebrating Viking longships coming to America. And wait a minute, Columbus was like, back then they knew more than us? Yep. There's some woo for y'all, folks. There's some woo. And yes, that was a perfect carrot for y'all, because I will be getting our good friend Chris Anatra back on the show. We have reconnected on Facebook. He has now got the new Facebook Kev Dave Baker profile. We're reconnected, Scott. We're back in the same dimension. He talks about multiple dimensional chess moves. He talks about time traveling elephants as well.
Wow.
And listen, look at this. Like, look at me. I actually said time traveling elephant without going into a blue chicken laughter or without like any ridicule. I'm dropping that on people. Seriously, a time traveling elephant. He makes a serious case for it, man.
Well, because I know the way Chris Sinatra, the way he breaks down the information and the way he puts it together, it sounds.
The guy is a self-made millionaire. He's put his business and his reputation on the line. He's not trying to sell you nothing. He ain't got a book. He ain't got t-shirts. He ain't got any grift going. He's a dude that literally has like been, wow, through his business life has been thrown into what was the Mandela effect. And now to the point where he's talking about reading the Akashic records. And you know what? I don't know what he's doing, but you need to check it out, because if you like your woo, and you've heard Chris before, like I say, first hearing of it, I wasn't
It-
like all of it. I was compelled, Scott. I'm like, wow, dang.
Well, and the thing is that he observed a phenomena, right? The Mandela effect, right? He observed a
Dun, dun,
phenomena
dun.
that directly affected his business. And so that's what intrigued him about it. And he was essentially kind of forced to look into it because it was directly having an effect on his business, on what he does. And he was noticing these anomalies and these Mandela effects were actually causing real world issues for him, right? When it came to the software that he had wrote for, because he's in the business of like food distribution, right? And
Logistics. Yep,
and all
everyone's
this-
orders going through. You know.
yeah, the logistics and everything. So he has this special software, the special code that's written to help manage all of that. And these weird Mandela effects that were occurring, especially when it comes to like the name of different foods and these subtle changes were being recognized in his software. So it was absolutely amazing to see that as a real world case of it becoming an issue.
It was
And
the
come
woo.
back for some more programming.
Yay! We love it. We love it. There we go. There we go. Wow, 159 on the stream right now. It's the first show of the year. I don't think we've ever had that many on KBS2. I hope this is the trend for the year. But to all the new listeners out there, maybe your returning listeners, welcome. Happy New Year to you all. I think we can safely say we're all over the dateline now, right? We're all in that new year. Hope it's going very freakily for you so far. We're going to dive back into our Freaky Friday top 10 crazy stories from 2020. But Kev, I'm really glad you were free to come on tonight, and please thank your daughters profusely from me and Dave. Are you glad you came on for our first Freaky of the year? There was no way I could put on a rebro, right? I know some people might say, but you know, the 1st of January, it's a bit of a holiday. Oh, heck no. You have to start the year as you mean to go on, and it's full woo ahead, Kevin, right?
I'm gonna proclaim that's a rhetorical question.
Exactly.
Because it is always a delight in my darkness to have these opportunity with you two gentlemen. And so, you know, whether or not it's really my daughters are just like, Dad, get out of our hair. But
What do you think?
I was
what do you
glad
think,
when they.
What do you think of that mud flood thing I mentioned, Kev? You ever listen to any of that stuff?
Absolutely. I've looked into the fact that you can practically go anywhere in the United States and start digging down, and within 5 feet, you're going to start coming across signs of ancient sea life.
Wow.
You know,
I
so
remember
if
watching one time, Kev, where it was like a mountain in Peru or somewhere in South America where they were finding like evidence of like crustaceans and things after like near the
What?
top of the mountain.
You know what? Perfect example. Where I live, right here, and pretty much most of Kansas. Okay, so when we had our house built in the early 2000s out here, there's a layer of sandstone, you know, across this whole region. Yeah, you go down a few feet and then you hit a solid chunk of sandstone, and it's real tough, you know, when they're trying to put in the foundation for a house, because you have to dig up this layer of sandstone, and, you know, punch through it with the tractor and all that stuff, and you know, break these basically chunks of boulder, you know, these rocks out, you know. Well, all that sandstone, you can just grab a piece of sandstone rock, you know, in your hand and just break it on something, and when it breaks open, all you see in it, seashells,
Whoa.
seashells, all kinds of different sea life, fossils everywhere. My mom has her flower garden a lot of the sandstone rock that was busted out when they built the foundation of the house, she reutilized it. She used the rock and she made basically like a border around her flower garden with the rock. But you can grab any one of those rocks and just look at it and see just a plethora of fossilized sea life in it. It's amazing. So yeah, this whole area, the whole middle of the U.S., from the Great Lakes all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, was all underwater. It was all an ancient sea at one point, and this whole area was just covered in sea life
There
that
we go.
eventually became the sandstone. It's quite amazing.
Keep your mind.
Well, no, not that
open.
one. Not that one. No,
Keep
no.
looking. Whoa, we're back. Second half of Freaky Friday. This first day of 2021. We're kicking it off the way that we want it to continue. It's weird. It's woo. It's wonderful. And thank you all for being here. Big numbers on YouTube today. Massive turnout in the Wookiee Cave. Our digital compound over at tfrlive.com/chat. Scotty, me, Kev, Dave. We've got Nacy as well. And Nacy, I forget, that was so exciting. We're getting so deep into the woo. I'm getting all excited. And I forget, did we come back to you to find out your thoughts about the Native Americans and the stone circles and in that lake that we were talking about?
Well, every single time that I think about the stone circles, it makes me go back to, how do we track time? How do we track the positioning of the stars? And then you stick in a blisk in the center of a circle, and there you have the basic structure of measurement of one cycle to the next. And maybe this is what these indigenous people from around the world, when they didn't have that smartphone or that smart watch or even an hourglass maybe, or they had one of those candles, like, I bought this 8-hour candle so I can measure how long the night is or how long the day is to keep aware of the cycles. But yeah, who knows? We're not there. And until I can remember how to open up portals to go back and check these occurrences out, I'm going to need somebody to go with so they can actually visually see it and tell me what's going on, because I can't look into a bowl of water and scribe that way.
Nah, it's we talk about these ancient structures and these ancient circles and stuff, and obviously I think a lot of these were built as some kind of a celestial timekeeping method of some sort, tracking cycles and all of that. And obviously, the circle is the most efficient way of being able to do that, right? Think about how the circle is utilized in so many different things. Just the way that we keep track of time right now, right? The clock, it's two hands that rotate around a circle. It's interesting that there's something to spirals and circles and that whole understanding of that shape. And I think it's kind of like one of these fractal things, right? Where it's a common repeating pattern that you see from the macro to the micro, right? Our solar system, we rotate around a sun in a circular pattern. It might not be a perfect circular pattern. It might be an elliptical pattern. But That gif, Keb, that thing is disturbing. That Zach Galifianakis gif that you got going on there is
Classic. That's Dave, dude. Meet Dave. That's Dave. That's how Dave feels. When Dave's on the scene, he is think that's the way he is, man.
that's the
Zach playing as Dave.
That's the split personality. That's the that's
Jekyll
Dave
and the Hyde.
Oh, Kevin, like you wouldn't believe. Like you wouldn't believe. Ah, yes,
Well,
indeed.
I cannot confirm or deny that sometimes in the back recess of my entity, there's a door that I nailed shut and welded shut and chained shut and locked. And sometimes I hear that voice going, "Let me out, let me out." And I just dare not even acknowledge it because that negativity of the experiences of what I've gone through, you know, especially with having Gulf War illness and witnessing the atrocities that are occurring, there's part of me that just wants to pull out a big old can of whoopa on some people.
A can of was it Twisted Tea? Have you guys seen that
Dingo.
meme?
We'll call it Whoop Dingo. I don't know. It's just I don't know why. I don't know.
Whoop Dingo.
See if you boys had a then you could call it Whoop. You see, you got that. I love it, man. But listen, let's get back
Do you
to
have
our
a number
list, boys.
6?
Yes, let's get back to our list. Number 6, really cool one. I tell you, Unmysterious Mysteries or unexplainedmysteries.com has really delivered this year. When you think about it, we're not even halfway down their list, right? We're now getting into the realms of a CT scan reveals mummies that aren't human. Boom. Now, this was back on the 20th of July. It says 2 Egyptian Jimmy Jeans, you ready? Sarcophagi. Yes, dating back 3,000 years have been found to contain something rather unexpected. Were you boys impressed with my sarcophagi attempt there? Did it work?
It was good. It was good.
Was it? No, wait.
Sorry.
I think. Oh, hang on. Hang on now. Are you ready, boys? Egyptian
Sarcophagi. Sarcophagi.
Oh.
Sarcophagi.
You okay? You okay? You like it, boys? You like it? Big shout out.
I feel like
to
Jimmy's here and we're about to watch the ball come down.
Yeah, big shout out to my man Jimmy Jeans. Great hanging with you yesterday, bro. I think we were on for about 3.5 hours in the end. Good fun, my man. Good fun. Remember, check out Jimmy Jeans' channel. I'm trying to say that after a couple of Tennessee's finest. That's what I'm telling you, right? So, anywho, two Egyptian. Where are we? Oh, what one was it again? 2 Egyptian. Come on, Jimmy.
Sarcophagi.
There we go. Dating back 3,000 years, have been found to contain something rather unexpected. When scientists used a CT scanner to peer beneath the wrappings of 2 mummies at Rambam Hospital in Haifa, Israel, recently, what they found inside comes as quite a surprise. The 2 mummies had been part of a collection at the National Maritime Museum for many years. The smallest of the 2, which was described as bird-like and was thought to have represented the Egyptian god Horus, actually contained the remains of a literal bird inside, possibly a falcon, and the other, which had been thought to contain the remains of a young child, turned out to be filled with mud and grain, most likely as an offering to Osiris, the Egyptian god of blah blah blah, not coming back anymore. Yes, indeed. Now, you know, something from Egypt that stands out for me, guys, was the documentary again on Netflix about Sakari and the discovery of the first it was like a cat necropolis. It's not the first cat necropolis they found, but they found evidence of like I want to say as a tiger cub or a lion cub, something like wow. Anyway, yeah, Scotty, like thousands of cats, dude. And then they started pulling out all these sarcophagi as well. one of the most significant discoveries, and the reason I really liked the documentary and the story itself is that there's the archaeological team. It's made up of Egyptians, and the guy that's like the first one down into the actual burial chambers, his great grandfather, his grandfather. It's like the ancestral line have been doing this in Egypt forever. His boy was there training to be the next generation on, and to make it even freakier, this thing all about the cat necropolis, and it came out later on in the year that the guy I'm talking about, he said he thinks he got a curse because the cats that used to be in his house, anytime they see him now, wow, they're out of there, man. They can't go anywhere near him. So,
Oh, they sense that there's some bad juju going on right there.
2020 gave us some Egyptian woo-woo. So what do you make of that one, Kev? And mummies, Egypt in general, pretty cruel, right? Not cruel, cool, sorry. Cruel?
My elders talk about cats having the ability to catch spirits and bring them into your home. So the idea of people holding these cats to such a great regard is not surprising at all, because they are extremely interesting entities nonetheless.
Cats, you know, if this had been a couple of weeks ago, it would have been way too soon for me to be doing cat stories. But, you know, I'd like to think Susie is now in a better place. But what do you say about where animals go, Kev? I mean, you had the Egyptians there, right? They absolutely worshipped cats. Interesting side story, at Rosalind Chapel, the Templar Chapel here in Scotland, it's got a magical cat, the chapel cat there. But obviously lost my wee best friend recently. Oh, don't get me started. But do they? What do you think, Kevin? I mean, are they going to a better place? Do we meet them again in the afterlife? I think so. I'd like to think so.
Well, as we always talk about the microcosm and the macrocosm, if we are a energy, an essence, a soul in our, in our physical entity, then why not would be the same circumstance for all these other entities, whether we call them birds or fishes or mammals. So it makes sense that this collective energy is of the same source. So why would we not go back,
Yeah. No doubt. I agree. And, there are many different takes on this, different views that different religions, may hold on this. And I'm open to many different possibilities. And look, they're beings of this earth. They're creatures of this planet. I believe that they have a life essence, a soul, if you will. They're all part of this grand scheme of things, and I think when a pet passes, any animal passes its essence, its life essence is returned to, it goes somewhere. It goes somewhere. You know what I mean? It played its role in that, in that section of time for what the creator put it there for, right? So yeah, I totally think, totally believe that,
and the basis of the basis of the mummification with the Egyptians was this ideology of assisting these entities to come back together in this afterthought or afterworld or whatever is next in this. But have I shared with you guys the story about my ghost puppy?
I don't care if you have. I want to hear it again.
So, because my parents were divorced when I was very young, we had a puppy. Its name was Pee-wee. And while we were at my father's, Pee-wee died. And Pee-wee, me and my brother, we had bunk beds. And Pee-wee always wanted to sleep up with me in the bunk bed. So she would come into the room and she would whine until I got down from the bunk bed, and I'd lift her up on the bunk bed. And, you know, I just spoiled this dog. All she had to do was whine, and I'd set her back down or bring her back up. So we come back, we learn about Pee-wee's death. We were told it was a chicken bone, but later we found out that my stepfather, being a truck driver, had some gotta stay awake pills, and the dog ate them. And so for a solid 4 days, I kept being waken up by this whimpering of Pee-wee, and like she would scratch like on the leg post of the bunk beds. And so I would wake up to this, you know, and I would just start crying and stuff. And my mother would come in and she would try to, you know, console me and stuff. And she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Pee-wee keeps wanting to come up in my bed." And she's like, "Pee-wee's gone," and all this stuff. And I'm like, "No, she's been coming, you know, for like the last 3-4 nights."
You got a weird one,
And
Kev. Me and Anne the other night, I took the night off and we were watching telly together. And in between one of the things, we're sitting there, we're getting a coffee, whatever we're doing. But, you know, Susie used to go out to the hall. Her tray was out there, she's a house cat. And she always used to have long nails, Scott, always. So you'd hear her, like, we used to call it her high heels, clippity clop, right? And I swear, me and Anne looked at each other. And it was like we'd heard that same noise. And I don't know, but me and her just kind of smiled about it. Anne says she thought she'd heard it before. I don't know, but at that point, I'm like, now I'm cool. Now I'm chill. Cat's still kicking about somewhere, dude. Still kicking about here somewhere, man. Still doing her thing, you know?
And I've had experiences here around the house too, where I think I've probably experienced maybe the ghost of you know, one of the 2 dogs that we've lost, you know, since we lived in this house. And you know, we had a Chihuahua named Tanka.
Nice,
You know?
nice, like that.
Yeah, we had a Chihuahua named Tanka, and then we had a Papillon named Snowflake. And I sometimes think, you know, remember I had talked about my brother had some of these experiences with shadow animals, right? And I'm wondering if maybe some of these shadow animals he's experiencing, and every once in a while, like, I'll think sometimes I'll hear like Snowflake bark, like that step bark.
You probably are.
You know, but it's not like super distinct, like next to me or something.
There,
but like
it's not.
you would the sound you would hear if like the dog was outside maybe, and it's kind of muffled and you don't really know, and you're like, what was that, you know? But you go, wow, it sounded like Snowflake, or it sounded like a Tanka or something like that. So
whoa, Kevin McCairn.
Hey.
Wow, dude, and listen, if people are wondering why things were weird when it kind of came up there, I wondered what that was all about. That's through the Streamlabs Superchat, not the actual one on YouTube. Kevin McCairn, I had an absolutely brilliant day with you yesterday, sir. That was like a breath of fresh air for me. Enjoyed that so much, and I know you're going to come on my show. You're going to come on like one fortnight, I'll go over to yours one fortnight, and vice versa, and we'll keep doing what we do, brother. But thank you so much for yesterday, man, and keep doing what you do. And thanks again for everything you've brought to the Kev Baker show this year, and on and off air, Bunker Boy. Telling you, man, it's been great getting to knowing you, and I'm looking forward to working with you next year as well. Great stuff. But you know, we're talking about these the cat stuff there, and you think about Egypt, and you think about the way they worship them, Scott, right? Now, in my more woo-woo moments, I sometimes wonder, we've got the reptilians, we've got the Nordics, we've got the insectoids, we've got this, we've got that. Have we ever had the feline? types of entities talked about? I've never come across it in my kind of travels, you know?
No, like
Right. So that's one thing that
like-
always sticks in my mind. But the other thing, the second part to it, is I wonder if the Egyptians were so into them, because anyone who's had a cat will know that they look at things in the room that we can't see. Like their heckles will go up as well, and they're aware of things that we aren't privy to. And we know how the Egyptians were
Yep.
literally obsessed with like the afterlife and the other side of the veil, the spirit world. And I wonder if they clocked onto the fact that these little furry buggers, they were like privy to seeing what was there.
They definitely look. The Egyptians definitely observed these animals doing things that were like, where they're like, what are they looking at? You know, if the cat is looking at a corner of the room or something where, you know, you're not seeing anything, but the cat is like freaking out about it, then they probably recognized, you know, or made the connection that, you know, these cats were seeing something that they couldn't, and that they had some kind of a connection with, you know, this other realm, right? That they were able to see stuff that humans couldn't. And you know, I totally believe that. I mean, just even from a scientific standpoint, you know, they're able to see a spectrum of light beyond what humans can see, right? I believe it's that they can see into the I think it's the infrared spectrum. It might be the ultraviolet. I don't know which end of the spectrum it is that they can see into. But
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Have either of you witnessed when a cat will like be looking out the window and they see a bird and they start doing that kind of with their mouth? They do that kind of like clicking.
Yeah, that weird chirping. I call it the chirping or something like that.
Right. Well, one of my ex-partners, her cat started doing that, and it was looking up in the corner of the room. And when she did it, I looked at the cat and I could see her eyes, like her irises going in and like they're focusing literally on something, you know? So I would like look to the corner and look to the cat and look to the corner again. And then the cat just kind of like looked like it followed something real quick to the left. And then everything was chill again. Now I just got goosebumps thinking about that.
Kev,
But it was creepy.
No, I bet, dude. Somebody in the chat, you know, when you were discussing, you know, these entities and stuff like that, how come we haven't heard of anything feline related?
Yeah.
Somebody said the lion men of Moab.
Oh, Moab. Oh.
The lion men of Moab. And
I'm going to Google that. I hope, but I can't imagine what I'm going to come up with when I Google this.
We can get
Meow
something
men.
on that. That'd be very interesting.
Lion men of Moab. Okay. Oh. Right, well, hang on. We'll come over here, right? It says, I've stumbled upon a passage in scriptures, the King James reptilian royal version of the Bible, that spoke about a couple of lion men of Moab, or specifically Ariels, that were killed along with a lion in Samuel 2. It says, and Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, or Jehoiada, I'm useless at this, the sons of the valiant man of Kabzeel, who had done many acts, who slew the lion men of Moab. He went down also and slew a lion in the midst of a pit in time of snow. It says, in your discovery and inductive reasoning of scriptures, what do you make of who these Ariels to be? It says, are the Ariels the lion men hybrid? Genetic alterations? Number 2,
Wow.
if so, what is the origin of the Ariels? Ariel sounds like angel. Wasn't there an angel Ariel? Am I wrong there? Number 3, how did they end up in the land of Moab? Number 4, why were these creatures killed along with the lion? And based on 2 Samuel 23:20, it specifies that the lion or Ariels were killed along with a lion. Does it imply that they were genetically modified, or is it about their characteristics and their fighting style and strategy? Whoa, Lord of the Rings, Scott. Is there any other parts of scriptures that talks about similar encounters and possible hybrids?
Damn it, where's Joe Joseph when we need him?
Oh, he'd be right on this. We need Derek Gilbert's another guy I met this year. He'd be all over this. Here we go. Ever heard of this, Kevin?
Well, isn't Moab to do with Shekinah?
Well, I know, is it not like one of the lands that Noah took the people into? I might be wrong there. Might be totally wrong there.
Yeah,
Oh, look at this. Beware the lion men of Moab. Oh my goodness. Oh, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost on the break. We're going to save that for after the break, so we are.
Black Panther.
What?
I guess
Hey, I tell you what, Black Panther, that was a shock last year, right? I don't know if you guys watched the Black Panther movie, but you know, that actor passing away. I think anyone knew he was kind of suffering from bad illness and things, but lost a lot of people last year in 2020, dude.
Sean Connery.
Shaken, not stirred. I'm not even going to put his accent on. His accent should be retired along with him. Yep.
Yeah, it was a crappy year.
Crappy year all round, but we're turned the corner now. We're on a new lap. We're on the home straight. The home straight of what? The apocalypse, ladies and gentlemen.
We have enough toilet paper
right
for 2021.
Exactly. Grab your bog roll now before it runs out. There we go. We're off the TFR now. The Lion Men of Moab. Bloomin' heck. This is going to be some good stuff, I think, that we're going to get into here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, where do we get that? There we go.
Good thing I caught it just out of the corner of my eye in the chat.
Scott Lopez. Hats off, my friend.
I'm going to mute up. I'll be right back, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all for being here again today. Listen, you don't have to, but if you'd like to become a member of the madness that we do here, and it's pretty much like Freaky Friday all the time around here. We've got memberships if you want. You don't have to. Just you being here is a big, big help. It helps us in the algorithm. Remember to like it, dislike it if you want. It all helps the same. Leave a comment, hit share. But I'm really hoping, because like the last couple of streams we've done, we've had bigger numbers now. I think doing it at the later time of night helps as well. So I'm going to pay keen attention to that. I'll be adjusting my streaming times accordingly. And yeah, thank you all for being here. Kevin, wow, dude, we've got through a lot of topics and we're only at like number 5 on our list of the 10 wackiest things from one website. That's only one website, you know?
It's, hey, it's been a wild year, so I'm not surprised in the least that the top 10 is going to be a plethora of wild stuff, man.
Wild woo, Scotty. Wild woo.
Indeed. Well, the Sphinx is supposed to be a cat, right?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, Leo, the constellation Leo on the horizon, way before the time that they say that the pyramids were built, you know. Oh, and then I think when the next civilization came along and discovered the pyramids, they probably dug them out. They probably dug the Sphinx out as well. They probably excavated it like we did. And then they thought, well, we'll make that face a bit more like a human and things, make it make sense to us. And that's our chief dude now. And yeah, dude, I don't think we've even got a small grasp on the story, you know? I mean, look at what I was saying about Chicago, the World Fair. And I've still to look into that, but I've got no reason to believe that Chris Sinatra, the quantum businessman, well researched, he was showing photographs from the damn thing. Point being, we always talk about how history is his story. And it really is bamboozling when you start to contemplate the fact that over 100 years ago, people were in full knowledge of the kind of things that we think we're exposing today. We're not exposing anything, Scott. We're remembering stuff that they've hidden from us, you know?
Exactly. We're just we're rediscovering.
Yeah, it's re-exposing it, right?
Re-exposing it. Yeah, it's the cycle. I wonder how many times that cycle has been going on where
Cycle of the psychos.
yeah, where like knowledge was hidden from people, and then they ended up rediscovering it or exposing it, and then the cycle begins once again where the knowledge is hidden or lost for some reason, and then people have to rediscover it. I mean, I guess you could say a more uh, practical example of it would be all of the
Holy
knowledge that was
cow,
lost when the Roman Empire collapsed, right? There was a lot of knowledge that was lost and had to be essentially rediscovered once the Renaissance took place in the 1500s, right? Where, I mean, look, the Romans
Here
knew
we go,
how
Scott,
to
here
make
we go.
concrete.
Sorry, dude. Here we go. We pick up here when we come back.
Yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Final hour of today's Freaky Friday. But hey, never fear. We are the warm-up act. And I say that sincerely because I really love the show that comes on next. In my opinion, it's the #1 paranormal show, not just on this network, but across a lot of networks. Not only that, but he's a good friend of ours, Brent Thomas. He will take you through the paranormal portal, and I know Scott loves the fact, and I'd imagine Kev does as well. I like that we get like the audience going, get them into that frame of mind, maybe, start to open up the neural pathways, Scotty. Get people opening up, thinking again, imagining, and then Brent comes in, boom, deep woo.
You got to get the juices flowing. You got to get the brain massaged.
Hey, you can't just go in cold. You can't go in cold, man,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's like that warm up you got to do before you
limber up, man. Or you're gonna pull a muscle in the first 10 minutes and you're out of there. The equivalent of falling asleep or something. But listen, if you fall asleep when you've got Freaky Friday on, don't worry about it. We had Mary DeCina on the other night, and somebody phoned up with the phones open. The phones were ringing off the hook. I couldn't even see the end of the phone board, Scott. It was crazy. I was scared. And then one of the callers said, I have to apologise, Mary, because I sometimes fall asleep. And she was actually flattered almost because of the way you learn, Scott, when you're sleeping, things go in better. And she took that as a compliment, that's your higher self really switching everything down so you can take it in,
That's actually good. Like people assume that if you're falling asleep during something that it's something that's boring you, and that's not always the case. Like my grandfather used to listen to Art Bell all the time when he would go to bed. He'd fall asleep to that to whatever was going on Coast to Coast at any given moment. And it's not because he was bored. He found it was a way of relaxing and absorbing the information, right? I think that's a good thing. That there's certain people that when they talk or when they present information, whether it be the tone of their voice, or the way that they're doing it, puts people in a relaxed state. It kind of opens you up and it makes you more receptive to the information. So, just because somebody might be falling asleep during something doesn't mean that they're bored with it or that they're not absorbing it.
So
It's
Scott,
just,
before we're going to move on, because the time's catching up here and we're not even at number 5 yet on our list, right? But during the break, we were talking about the ancient structures, and you brought up something cool about the Roman concrete. That's something that keeps coming up on history documentaries I watch all the time. Tell the audience about that, man.
Well, I mean, we were talking about, a lot of this stuff where maybe, you were talking about this information that Chris Sinatra had talked about, where they were talking about things in history that we're just now starting to, I guess, rediscover or expose or uncover once again. And I was talking about how how many times have we gone through the cycle where knowledge was hidden from us, or the true history was hidden from us, and we had to rediscover a lot of this knowledge, or uncover it or figure it out again. And how many times have we gone through that cycle? And I was talking about how, kind of a more practical example of it would be the fall of the Roman Empire, and a lot of the knowledge that they had that ended up being lost, and that's why at least, Europe descended into the Dark Ages,
Yeah.
right?
Basically.
They literally forgot, or they didn't have the knowledge to do the things that the Roman Empire once did, when it comes to building and just a lot of the technological advancements that were made were wiped out almost. Or I think there were still people who had that knowledge, right? I mean, the Roman Empire didn't just die and go away. It collapsed, and it sort of recoiled into a shell of its former self.
They
And
took their centurion suits off, and they took up robes and went running around
Yes.
with Bibles, and they went under the guise of the Vatican. Let's be honest, guys. Come on.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. That's what I was getting. That's what I was going to get to. And I think a lot of that knowledge that was contained underneath the Vatican, right? The Vatican archives and stuff. I think a lot of that was the lost knowledge of the Roman Empire.
And,
a lot.
and Alexandria and
Yeah.
Tartaria.
Uh-huh.
And probably, and I'm really, this is going to sound weird. I think there's like segments of like stories, like civilizations. I'm talking like maybe counting them on two hands that have just been. We haven't even scratched the surface of, Scott. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And so, the Vatican, it pretty much ran the show for the entire time that the Dark Ages was occurring, right?
Well, if you had a different opinion, they'd have burnt you at the stake, right, for heresy.
Yes, I mean they were the let's basically say the global superpower of Europe at the time.
Or we were talking about the Rajneesh Puram at the start of the show. There's another word you could call them, but we won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but yeah, they ran if you got on the bad side of the church during the Dark Ages, you were not going to have a good time.
There was this great band in the 90s called The Cult.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You're in a bad place when you're bowing and scraping to somebody that drives about with big robes on and pink slippers. There's fish hats. Fish hats. It should be a giveaway, folks. Get out of there.
And so their grasp, their control of the population was, let's just say, quite significant. And so I'm willing to bet that there was a lot of occulted knowledge from the former empire, right? The former Roman Empire that was just held back.
So Scott,
you wanted
saying if you go in there, right, and you said to the curator underneath the basilica, right, you said, what have you got on the lion men of Moab? Do you reckon they'd have a full segment on it? I think they would, man. They'd probably have one in a cage somewhere. Oh, the lion men of Moab almost tried to disappear on me there. Did you see that? This comes from a website called Godawa, thus snake Godawa. Wow, ho, big eye. Ooh.
spake Godawa.
Yeah, so of myth and Bible. Just a little bit of this. I'm not going to get deep into it.
Oh, my
But it
goodness.
says another strange legendary creature shows up in the Bible that made it into the movie David Ascendant, Lion Men of Moab. In Hebrew, they are called Ariels. Get this, guys. They are kind of werewolves, but more like were-lions. Oh, man.
Wow.
Goodness. So in 2 Sam 23:20, Ben Ai, or Ben Aiah, A valiant warrior strikes down the two Ariels of Moab. The word Ariel, or the word Ariel, is a transliteration because scholars are not sure what it means. The King James and Young's Bible translate these opponents of Benaiah as lion men of Moab, which captures the strangeness of the creatures but fails to express the religious or supernatural connotation of the word. Some translators translate the phrase Ariels of Moab as sons of Ariel of Moab, after the unlikely LXX Greek translation, or lion-like heroes of Moab. But there is no Hebrew word for sons of in the sentence, no indication of Ariel being a personal name, and no Hebrew word for warrior used in the sentence. The Hebrew word for mighty warrior, Geborim, is often frequent or is used frequently throughout David's narrative, and that word is not here. The text says two Ariels of Moab. Ken Ami, a guest that I met this year, as another highlight of 2020. He would be really good to ask about that. Have you ever heard of them before, Kevin? The Lion Men?
Well, if we go back to the chimeras,
Yep.
and we go back into these ancient writings where they talk about the gods manipulated the entities on the earth, speculation island, could this whole occultation of knowledge be not only trying to make sure that we don't know about these other type of entities or civilizations, but even the fact that by getting control of Europe, it would be in their best interest to destroy knowledge, because even the fact that the North and South America, if people of Europe under that tyranny knew there was a way to get away, then isn't that originally why the Pilgrims left? So if they can keep control and say, hey, if you go towards the ocean at some point, you're just going to fall off because,
No, you're not. Let's not even go down that particular avenue.
Right, but that's a wonderful way to create a prison so you don't leave.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
I think this all ties into, like, look, I don't know, because I know, if you're reading the Bible from the Old Testament all the way to the end, I mean, there's a lot of time that is covered from from the beginning to the end. There's a quite a significant timeline that the Bible covers, right? So I don't know, like, what particular point in time these Ariels made their arrival, and that there was this battle with them or whatever. But
super genetically modified dogmen.
I'm definitely thinking this ties into the Nephilim, the fallen angels,
the Gibberim and all that. I think it does, man. Yeah, done a great show. Ken Ami, listen to him, dude. He's cool. One heck of a dude.
Ariel has to do with the air being above of height, and so
over here it's a really strong washing detergent that we put in while we're washing. Like if you've got grass stains, Ariel shifts anything. I'm just saying. Number 5 in this year's roundup. I remember this. A glitch in the Matrix as a bird hovers motionless. This is a very infamous clip now. It was like a crow or a blackbird just hovering there. I think it's a drone, to be honest with you. Personally. You get drones that can look like many things. That could, I don't know. But it was definitely something that was doing the rounds. Weird, right? Remember that one?
I've seen a bird hover motionless. Now I don't know about like that, but like I've seen a bird, like a hawk, go into the wind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go into the wind with its wings out, and it's like catching some lift or a little bit of an air current, and it's not moving forward. It's just kind of suspended there in the air, and it's not really moving because it's just riding the air current.
We're not impressed
Now
with
that
that one
video
then. We're not
there-
impressed with that one then,
Yeah,
Scott.
that video there, I don't know.
Number 4, forget it. We're throwing that out, right? Number
Number
4,
four.
right? We've got, we'll open it up here. Oh, Bigfoot peers through window in new images. This is the one that scared you before the show, Scott. I'm going to drop it for the TFR listeners right now. This is disturbing, isn't it?
It's all I know is that I would not be.
It's not that if that's a man, I'm not ugly shaming anyone, but I mean, come on, that's like that ain't no normal thing, right?
It definitely has, I would say, more of a primate-ish, Bigfoot-ish kind of face.
Thing going on.
Yeah, it's got something going on there that.
Cro-Magnon.
Yeah, it's got like the widened nose and the like tapered upper part of the head, so the eyes are a little more.
In Colorado to make it even more bizarre.
Oh man, that's just next door to Kansas.
Bailey, Colorado. It could be near your home right now, Scott, because this was like March 17th. That's plenty time for this to have lurked its way into your back garden, dude. Not to be like not to worry you or anything, you know.
There has been this mysterious animal that has been creeping around our house, and we haven't been able to identify it yet, but we've caught glimpses of it, and it's scurried off before we had a chance to fully. We don't know if it's a groundhog or what.
Nice, man. That might be
Came
just
through that
rogue
portal
raccoon.
at Skull Graveyard.
Oh.
That's a bit of a weird one, right? So we've got that. We're rattling through them now, boys. Number 3. Now we're talking. Loch Ness Monster photograph emerges now. Disclaimer.
It's that one.
It's that one. It's the catfish Loch Ness Monster. And I say it's the catfish Loch Ness Monster because I actually think it's a really poor Photoshop. It's not even a good Photoshop because even I could look at this, zoom in on it and say, right, hang on a minute. Something well wrong there. Lots of pixelation around where the catfish is. But it's a good story to bring up the fact. This is almost like a paradoxical anomaly. Boom, boom. I told you there'd be a couple of those in the show today. But in a year where tourism has been at an all-time low, and somewhere like Loch Ness is typically visited by millions of people hunting for Nessie, isn't it strange that in the quietest year in forever, this has been a record year of sightings? Literally, it's been the record year for recorded sightings of Nessie in a time when there's not as many people peering and observing the loch. It makes you wonder, if this supernatural entity feels a bit more able to manifest, even, guys. I don't know. There's something weird about it, though, right?
I was just about to say,
It's a paradoxical anomaly.
Maybe now that Nessie knows there's not so many eyes on her, she
Just
feels
shy,
a little
timid little beastie.
I think she's shy. I think that she knows now that since
She doesn't
nobody's
want her own
out
YouTube channel. She doesn't want to be a cryptid influencer. She's not after the dopamine. She just wants to swim.
she feels a little more free to be herself. That's all I'm saying.
She feels a lot more accepted in this very new, diverse world that we've got, Kevin, doesn't she?
2 theories.
Or should I say, doesn't they? Because we don't know what it identifies as, right?
First theory is Nessie signed a deal with Coca-Cola, and so she has to have a few more media sightings, and they're waiting to release the upcoming Nessie story in 2021, or her offspring is kind of like
They're evolving
a
into
media
gallus
hound.
little buggers. They're like wanting the dopamine. They're wanting the photographs on social media. I feel you, man. The new
Yeah,
generation, Kev.
they just
Mhm.
need that limelight for that moment.
Smart Nessie. The
Mhm.
lock's got
Hey,
5G, Scott. That's what it is, man.
next, next thing you know, Nessie's offspring, you know, they're going to be all hip and cool with the new technology. You're going to have an Instagram account
They're
pop
shape
up.
shifting entities. They can be anything they bloody want to be. Isn't that cool, man? How cool's that? You wake up in the morning in this very fluid world that we live in. Literally, Nessie's way ahead, man. She, he, they've been changing shape and entity all over the years, you know?
You're gonna get a very suspicious Facebook friend request from a very lovely lady of the lock,
Oh,
and
I like it, Scott. The Lady of the Loch. Man, there's the book title. There it is, Bo. Oh, yes, indeed.
And
Lady of the Loch.
because of her flippers, she got the neural implant.
Well, Kev,
So her
funny you
iPhone.
mentioned that, right? But see, remember earlier on, guys, I mentioned Marty Klein, the Klein henge under Loch Ness. They were the people that caught a really famous picture of something, and they said it was just something. They never claimed they knew what it was, but what it looked like was a flipper, like the kind of flipper you would see on your artist's impression of a plesiosaur, that type of thing. This was an MIT study, you know. A lot of money went into it back in the day in '76. It was the first time. And this guy I'm talking
Yes.
about, Marty Klein, he was like, he's not just some dude like me. He's like the inventor of side scan sonar that found the Titanic. And I mean, he's a prominent guy, Scott, you know. It's not like some dude like me
I
in a boat.
actually, we actually just watched a show the other day on the Loch Ness monster, and they were showing those photos. You know
Wow, man. Think.
that they took from the 70s, right? And when I saw that, I was like,
There's a weird
it doesn't
headed one.
work.
It's like a weird thing. Looks like a weird. Oh, it's crazy, dude, right?
The flipper, that was what did it for me. That is a clear cut. I mean, that's a clear cut photo of a flipper. And I don't think there's any other way you could describe what you're looking at other than the fact that it looks like a flipper from like a plesiosaur or some sort of animal like that, right? And
It
yeah,
look like a plesiosaurus.
There's one of them there. I mean, Kev, just to tell you, you've got a mass on the right hand side, like there's something there. Then coming off the mass, it's like a dorsal fin. It's like a
Yeah.
proper fin. You've got the big line down the middle for where the bone and things would be. And then there's another image as well. And the sign, pareidolia takes off here. And this is why you sometimes see Nessie with big kind of spikes coming out its head. Not spikes, but almost like antennae sometimes. Because there's like,
Mhm.
and then it looks like a snout. But again, it's pareidolia. Does it just look like that? Don't worry, TFR. I've got you covered, folks. The images are incoming here. I've got you covered.
Well, it always makes me think of just, how distraction is used a lot. And so if like you were talking about that story about the much clearer image that was released, but then they focused on this kind of ridiculous one. So wouldn't that be the same, basic guidelines that somebody would utilize to suppress this knowledge? Because, what would be the result of all of a sudden tomorrow we're told, here, look, here's the picture, here's Nessie, it's real. What's the causation of that occurrence happening?
I don't really it would change life too dramatically, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's the other interest. Like, okay, so if they did find evidence that something was there, I mean, what how does that really change things in the grand scheme of things? Like,
It would open the floodgates of the whole cryptodes. It'd be like, okay, so now there's Nessie, next there's Bigfoot, now there's the Dogman.
it would. I mean, you're right. I mean, it would open the door to all of these other things that people are called crazy for looking into, right?
You know, guys,
And,
on the members stream I done at the weekend just past there, my mum had found this amazing article, and it was about a fisherman. He was a bus driver to start with, and he'd seen something in the loch, and unfortunately, the end of his life, he'd gone out fishing. But even the end of his life, it was like there was mystery, because people kind of surmised with the way the boat capsized and things, and a very keen fisherman, a good boatsman, and how maybe perhaps the boat had capsized that. But again, it kind of had references to my family in the area around Bleskin House. And I tell you, dude, where my mum found this, she got it from some obscure Facebook group. But I find it really interesting. Now here we are, right? I mean, I grew up around there. But like everything else, there's so much information that people have had, but it's not been shared. But now it's coming to the surface, and there's so much new stuff you're finding out about Loch Ness, confirming some of the old stuff me and my mum had already known. And even better than that, it's like Chinese whispers, Scott, right? Because we had a family story that we always used to tell. And then we found this report from like the Inverness Courier, the actual newspaper back in the day, talking about it. We thought it was around the time of World War II. It was 1913 or something like that. Yeah, it did. It was like the newspaper report. And dude, it's like crazy. But again, Loch Ness, whatever topic, whatever thing you're into, I mean, it's amazing the stuff that we've got at our fingertips now that we can just find out, right? It's like the Library of Alexandria.
Yeah,
Shout
Oh,
out to the
perfect. Listen,
McLeod
there's the
clan.
music, Kev. Listen to that. Look at that. Oh, mic drop. Shh. We're out of there. One more segment to go. We will get to number one. Don't panic, folks. We'll be right back. There we go. Now, Scott, you've gone that. Look, you've gone that green way again. Look.
Did
See
I?
it? Yeah, you've gone like it's Kevin. Just to describe for you, right? It's like Scotty's camera. Like, oh, it's away again. I think you've got gremlins in your camera. Ooga boogas.
Yeah, and your screen share on my end, the color's all wigged out too.
Damn,
It's
dude.
been
We
like
need
a whole-
Bill Bean in here. He'll rebuke whatever is going on. And I've seen that fly earlier on. See how every time we do Freaky Friday, there's a fly? Folks, I don't live in a house that's like indwelt by lots of flies, let me tell you. I'm not that way inclined. But when Freaky Friday comes on, fucking fly appears every week. That's a
Do
bit
you remember the
disturbing.
Amityville Horror?
Unfortunately,
movie?
yes. Unfortunately, you know, Bill's done
When the-
work with like the real kind of Amityville stuff. Like,
When the priest goes
For
into that
reals,
room and
for
then the one
reals.
fly,
yeah.
and the flies kept coming. Lord of the Flies,
Can you imagine that? though, guys?
2021.
Can you imagine if you were like Bill? Like, that was your job. Like, you know, when you're going to a house, like you're going in. Can you imagine? Have you ever, like, I've never, I mean, one time I tried to imagine it and I couldn't, right? Because I've been to Crowley's. That's the only gaff I can compare that's indwelt with evil, right? Bill, every day he gets up, man. That's like what he's doing. Pulling on your socks, getting a shower, getting a wash, getting a shave, right back at it. You know, some people, they go out the telephones or they do this, they do that, bit of engineering. Bill's away in to fight demons, dude. People, and I'm laughing because I'm nervous. Imagine what that's like.
Bill is like the real life John Constantine.
Boom. Boom.
You've seen
That's what I'm gonna
Constantine.
Oh,
haven't you?
magical film, Scott. Magical,
that.
brilliant.
Yeah, Bill is like our real life John Constantine.
That's what I'm going to start calling him, man. I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to start calling him.
When-
He'll like that.
When the old Beelzebub showed up at the end, and how he came into appearance, that was brilliant.
I
Brilliant
love
movie.
I love the way they represented him, you know, like the evil one in that movie.
Right?
And how he portrayed himself in a modern fashion. You know, everybody has this kind of idea that the devil would present himself in this, you know.
Oh, he's got hoofs, mate. He's got hairy feet at the bottom. And he's got big hoofs.
But he just showed up as this dude. He just showed up as this dude that looked like, you know, maybe some kind of a crime lord or something. You know what I mean? He had the modern dress and all of that stuff, and it was like,
Kushner.
wow.
Kushner, my friend, turns up looking like a Kushner. Anywho, I tell you, dude, he looks like the kid that was in Damien. No coinky dinkies, I'm telling you, man. Now there's a spooky set of movies that definitely, even to
The
this
Omen?
day, oh, Kevin, The Omen. I remember being a wee guy, watching that with like my gran and my mum and things. I'd be absolutely like proper crapping it, boys.
That
you
was
know.
all about the Great Conjunction too, remember?
Oh,
The
Ooga,
final conflict.
Ooga, man.
It
We're there.
was.
We're there, folks. I'm telling you, you better be ready. This is the year. This is the year. Right?
Just don't answer the door, Kev, when you see that black-eyed child. He's like,
Black hole sun.
Well, I don't know if we've got
Coming
I hope we've got
home.
time for that other story related to that. But listen, we're about to bring it back. Here we go.
3 more
Buzz.
left.
mm-hmm.
Keep your mind open. Wrong one. Wrong
Keep
one.
looking for the woo.
Wrong one. One of these times I'll get it right, boys. But you know, that's actually becoming a bit of a bizarre thing now. I should just get it wrong. Play a sarcophagi, play goblins, just randomly play a sound clip. Scott, is that what we'll do? The Wookiee now is competition.
Come on, man.
That's
Come on, man.
There he is, there he is, yeah. See how he's got to rewind himself and get himself ready? Kind of slap about the head. Come on, Joe.
get it, go.
Come on. Come on, man.
There we go. We're ready to go now.
I just pictured that's what it legitimately sounds like every morning when he wakes up.
Ding, ding.
Could I make a suggestion humbly? Can we retire Greta?
How dare you?
Obviously not.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. Come on, man.
Right, anyway.
What if Nessie was a man?
Oh. Nessie, Kevin, have you ever seen the photographs? I'm telling you, man, what I'm looking at here, it can be whatever the heck it wants to be. This is a thing of gargantuan proportions.
I think Nessie's gonna jump out of Loch Ness one day, right? Since it's a shapeshifter, right? He's gonna come out. It's gonna be a really big buff dude, and he's gonna declare that after all of these years, after all of these years, he's sick and tired of being called Nessie. You know that they put such an effeminate name on him.
It's Nelson.
I mean, look at the picture I'm showing now. Come on. I mean, come on.
I think that's beyond the realm of pareidolia. Just saying.
If that's a bit of wood, damn, that's well carved. That's all I'm going to say.
Somebody put a lot of effort into carving that piece of wood into a legacy.
Number 3.
That's impressive.
Paging number 3.
That's impressive wood, shall we say. We're on to number 2, actually. Right, I like this.
Sorry.
I like this. I like it. Number 2, Tesla. Big shout out. Big shout out to a genius. Genius was from Venus, claims an FBI document. Comes from September. A rather peculiar claim concerning Nikola Tesla has been found in the archives of the FBI's official website. There are a few people who have contributed more to the widespread implementation of electricity in the modern world than Tesla, a man whose accolades range from pioneering the use of alternating current to conducting experiments designed to transmit electricity wirelessly through the air. And if I could have my way, I would take him and I would put him in the same room as Leonardo da Vinci, and I would throw in Elon Musk. Not because I think Elon Musk is as brainy as those two, but he's got the bajillions of funding that he would absolutely give free reign to
I
somebody
was
like
about to
Nikola
say-
Tesla and Leonardo da Vinci. He would say, have at it, guys.
Elon would give them all of the resources necessary for them to make their vision a reality.
Whereas JP Morgan said, what? What, you can't put a meter on it? Elon Musk would have said, thank you very much. Wouldn't he?
You don't understand America's sense of humor.
I never will, dude. No, definitely.
That's what he told Tesla
Think so?
when he. Yeah, that's the literal words that he. When oh my God, I would have gone crazy. But yeah, he helped Edison and all these guys, and
Maybe we could get the time machine and go back to that moment. We'll take out Edison. Well, we'll take out JP Morgan before he gets to the meeting. We'll turn up, like dressed like we're from the future, and I bet you Tesla would have said, I've been waiting for you guys. Oh, boom, boom.
Hey, like you called the what would you call it, the timeline Uber, I guess. We're here to pick you up,
Nice, Scott.
take you to your destination.
What about that story that came out where Elon Musk had arranged a meeting or tried to arrange a meeting with Apple, Tim Cook, to sell them Tesla motors for dirt cheap, dude. Apple didn't even turn up. And then, of course, Tesla turned the corner, and now they are where they are. And yeah, that was a story that came out a couple of weeks ago.
I'm
so
glad
if
that
Tesla is if Tesla is from Venus, and you know how they make these comments about women are from Venus and men are from Mars. I would wonder, in the polarity of the Earth, if there has something to do with our tilt of which hemisphere would tilt more towards Venus and which one would tilt more towards Mars.
Interesting. I know the bad guys from World War II, they were interested in Venus. Apart from the bone-crushing atmosphere and gravity and things that are there, I think it's pretty kind of cool planet. And they say that you can get things living in the atmosphere, which is really weird. But it says here, Kev, in a declassified FBI document entitled Interplanetary Sessions Newsletter, and dated June the 14th, 1957, there is a paragraph which reads, quite bizarrely, that Tesla came from the planet Venus. The space people have visited the Tesla... Yeah, it says the space people have visited the Tesla engineers many times. Let's stop there. Let's read that again.
Hold on, rewind. You're not...
Hang on. The space people have visited the Tesla engineers many times.
Come on, man.
Absolutely, Joe. It says, I'm told us that Tesla was a Venusian, brought to this planet as a baby in 1856, and left with Mr. and Mrs. Tesla in a remote mountain province in what is now Yugoslavia, which also contains Bosnia and, what's there? Bosnian Pyramid. This apparent revelation was allegedly received by somebody named Margaret Storm, who, according to the file, has been assigned to work with the space people. Eat your heart out, Corey. Good. She had been tasked with writing a book about Tesla's life and had received information on him through a device that he had developed in 1938 to facilitate interplanetary communication. If all this sounds ridiculously far-fetched, then it's because it almost certainly is. However, it is interesting that the FBI would actually have a document in its archives detailing something like this. It's only ridiculous if you don't have an open mind. And I'm not saying that he is from Venus, but pretty dang cool, boys, eh?
Well, it's interesting just because of the fact that, I mean, first of all, Tesla said that he was receiving a signal from Mars, right? And he was quite convinced that he was receiving a signal from Mars. Now Venus is kind of, I think it's like underrated. It's not talked about a lot, but there's a lot of stuff there when you really start looking into the significance of Venus and a lot of the people that were interested in Venus. And like you said, the bad guys from World War II had a lot of interest in Venus. I think that just because Mars has a more, I would say, is more hospitable to us, we tend to focus on it more. But I definitely believe that there's a lot going on Venus as well that may have taken place on that planet in the past. Do we even really understand the evolution of that planet? Right? I mean, look, Mars right now is inhospitable. At one point, it was hospitable. I mean, is this the same thing with Venus, or are we talking about maybe some kind of a runaway greenhouse effect that has caused Venus to become what it is now?
Good point.
You know what I mean? At one point, was its atmosphere a lot more like Earth?
I believe that every planet possible in our solar system has a biosphere that has been created, whether by the Galactic Council or whatever, or just our secret space force. And they've created biospheres for humans to exist so they can study these planetoids.
Hey,
I definitely
listen.
think
Speculation.
No. Listen, I'll give you I'll be self-indulgent here for a moment, right? Because I don't think you guys caught it. I don't think Scotty caught it, right? But we're going over the best woo stories from last year. And you know me, Scott, Kev. I usually go to the websites and I read stuff out. And I never call myself a researcher. I never do that. And I'm not in this instance either. But it was one of the more interesting dot connecting sessions that we've done, I think. And it came really recently. It came on Boxing Day over on a really long live stream. But I'm going to go over it quickly here, right? Because I think it's worth it and it's worth throwing out because we're talking about alien messages from distant planets. And this year was significant, or last year now, 2020, was significant on an astronomical level because we received what they class as the best alien signal / message since the WOW signal was picked up, right? And talking of this stuff before I dive into this, Brian Keating, astronomer, yes, the man that lost the Nobel Prize, he's coming back on KBS really soon. Keep your eyes open for that. But I'll be able to talk to him about this story that broke. Just, in fact, that's a 2010. This one's from until I go back here. Here it is. 17th of December. This is the right one. Scientists think they've detected radio emissions from an alien world. It says similar findings may tell scientists about magnetic fields around exoplanets. And long story short, right? It sounds pretty cool. I get that. Radio signals from an alien planet. But what they've been trying to do is, because we've got the Aurora Borealis, and it throws off like radio signals at the North and the South Pole, and that's where you get the northern lights and things. High energy's been produced, right? So they thought, well, if we start looking for evidence of that on these distant exoplanets, that may suggest that we're looking at a planet that's habitable, because it might be an indicator of a planet with a magnetic field. So that's the radio signals they're talking about, okay? So we're not literally talking about the podcast version of the Kev Baker Show or Freaky Friday coming from aliens. But what's really interesting is that when you read into this, it says that the astronomers behind this research used a radio telescope in the Netherlands to study 3 different stars known to host exoplanets. And the researchers compared what they saw to observations of Jupiter diluted as if being seen from a star system dozens of light years away. And one star system stood out, Tau Butes, which contains at least one exoplanet, and if the description holds up, it could open the door to better understanding the magnetic fields of exoplanets and therefore the exoplanets themselves. Pretty interesting in itself, right?
It is,
Even more interesting though, Scott, when I can tell you that yours truly and the KBS posse on a live stream, we're probably the only people that's taken this further. And it takes it into the most brilliant woo you've ever heard. Because remember the Black Knight satellite?
oh, how can I forget?
Exactly. Who can forget the Black Knight satellite? Some anomalous object that's in a polar orbit of the Earth, discovered back in the day when we were starting to launch things into space. And a lot of people say it's like some kind of alien probe going around in a polar orbit way before we could put satellites into polar orbit. Some say tens of thousands of years old. But me being me on the Kev Baker show, I thought, well, since the guy who decoded the message allegedly that came from the Black Knight satellite, why don't we try and get him on the show? And that was years ago, back in 2016. His name is Duncan Lunan. Now, how on earth's name does this connect to the alien message story that came in December this year? Well, when Duncan Lunan was decoding the message from the Black Knight satellite, it read, now where is it? Well, I'm going to read this out, right? I'm going to read this out here. The message read like this. Start here. Our home is Upsilon Butes, which is a double star. And we live on the 6th planet of 7, coming from the sun, which is in the larger of the two. Our 6th planet has 1 moon, our 4th planet has 3, and our 1st planet and 3rd planets each have one. Our probe is in position of Arcturus, known in our maps. Now, what's even funnier is if I go on to search this wiki page and I type in, oh no, hang on now, wait a minute, what will I get here? If I go to the Butes stars, right? We go. And if that brings it up. Yeah. And if I go to here and type in, no, it's not. But one of these, point being, I spoiled it there, but I could have dropped the mic because the point being, the star system that Duncan Lunan said that message came from, which at the time was attributed to the Black Knight satellite, comes from the same star system as what these astronomers are talking about with this alien message.
Very interesting.
So now we've got an exoplanet out there, Scott, that's got a magnetic field. And we've got a potential alien message that was decoded way back in the 1970s from that same star system.
Was this the same signal that we were talking about last time we all did Freaky Friday, and they said that this was the first signal that was like comparable to the WOW signal that they had received back? And so, I mean, to me, that would suggest that there is...
Here you go, Scott. Look, Upsilon Butes. We'll search for the word Tau. Yeah, one of its exoplanets.
Yeah.
Tau Butes. There it is. Boom. You see? You sometimes get woo connected on here, Scott. You impressed with that? Like I said to the audience, means nothing. Means nothing, but it's interesting. Because that's not the first time we've heard about alien signals in that star system.
I mean, what is the coincidence of that, right? To
bajillions.
Decode, yeah, to decode that message, that was supposedly from the Black Knight satellite, and then to end up receiving, here in 2020, well, yeah, last year 2020, all of a sudden they get a signal from that exact same star constant, yeah, it's that same planet that was referred to. I mean,
You like that, dude? You like that? That was like one of these useless factoids that Dave remembered when I read the new story. Bootis? How do I know that name? And I thought, oh, Bajingo. Now, it's like a Mandela effect because I can't find the full interview that I done with Duncan Lunan, because do you know what's even weirder? He actually rules out the Black Knight satellite, but what he tells you where that signal came from is even more fantastic. More fantastic because it's like a comet or a probe that periodically visits here. Not only that, but it lines up with Göbekli Tepe, the pyramids, and other civilizations that have been here. You see what I'm saying? That's the kind of woo that that's the kind of woo we peddle in. Yeah.
See, the woo doesn't get finer than that.
It
I mean,
doesn't. You see what I'm saying, Scott?
there's refined woo, there's like double distilled woo, there's triple distilled woo, but then there's like the creme de la creme. There's this is woo that is enriched on a level that nobody is capable of.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
Only on KB.
Ages and chaos. Worlds in collision.
I tell you, Kev, Bakerville is under UN sanctions because of the enrichment of woo that is going on under Speculation Island. The world is panicking. Oh no, I am going to end up getting myself arrested. But anyway, we are not building a compound anywhere. And if we now move on to number 1 in the list, well, it gives me absolutely massive personal pride to tell you that on the unexplainedmysteries.com website, your number 1 woo story for 2020, or their number 1 woo story was the drum roll, boys. Come on, drum roll. Here we go. Couple spots. A bus-sized creature in Loch Ness. Oh, boom! Yes. And this comes from September this year. It's not a Scottish website before people think this is biased in any way. No, I told you it was a record year. In Loch Ness, it stole a march on all the rest of the supernatural hotspots last year. Hey, Mothman, what?
Excuse me, it's man.
And the Mothman. Hey, listen, nothing like the Nessie. So Cody Sturrock and his wife had been out for a walk when they spotted something very large in the water.
How dare you?
Didn't even mention you, Greta. You're paranoid. The encounter, which took place on Saturday at around 3:40 p.m., very precise. See, if you see Nessie, you know the precise minute of the hour. Occurred.
You're checking your box and you're making sure everything is jotted down and dated. And...
You got your ducks in a row, man, or in this case, your humps in a row. Boom, boom. Oh, I've been camping and walking on Loch Ness my whole life. He's been walking on Loch Ness. Newsflash, I think the Messiah has returned. Just saying. His whole life. Imagine that, though. I'm just trying to remember if I ever seen a dude try to walk Loch Ness. That sounds ridiculous, but if you lived up there, no, you might see people that would think they could walk Loch Ness. So I've never believed in the Loch Ness Monster, said Cody. But what my wife and I saw was something quite extraordinary, and I would like to know if other people have seen the same. He described the creature as, oh, don't go there, eel-like, but also the size of a bus. Now that's a paradoxical anomaly, because no bus has ever been described as being eel-like, ever.
That's a really, really fat eel. I'm just saying.
Fat, really like rectangular, kind of obloid looking eel, right? I don't know. We saw the water rippling as if there was something swelling. And that is what grabbed our attention. That's what she said. And when we then saw this thing that looked like a massive eel rise from the water and go back under again, there was a large swell, he said. The same thing was also witnessed by several other people. Okay, now we're stepping up the veracity,
Okay.
the coolness, because now we've
Yeah.
got multiple witnesses. Sadly, however, even better, Corey was unable to capture the spectacle on his camera. Why even better? Because, folks, if you're going to see something like a Bigfoot, like a Nessie, like a Mothman, I know that in our technological age we're in, that something bad happens, you see a car crash, you see something out in the street, people film it, right? But when you're thrown into a situation where you're looking at something extraordinary and otherworldly, there's going to be a moment of pause when you ain't thinking about a phone. You're thrown out of like any comfort zone you've ever been in, Scott. And yeah, I mean, you're coming toe to toe, eyeball with something that ain't from here. Oh, wait till I get my
Yes.
phone, mate. No, it's not
Yes.
happening.
It's like when we saw the UFOs here, you know, a couple years ago on the 4th of July. We didn't even think about grabbing the phone and taking. We were just so stunned by what we were looking at. The phone was kind of the last thing on our minds until we're like, oh man, maybe we should get it. And by the time we went to get some pictures of it, they were gone. So, yeah, I think that brings a little more veracity to it as well, because it sounds like they had a genuine reaction, a genuine experience to whatever they saw. So, yeah.
Big shout out to the aforementioned Ken Ami in the chat room. We were talking about the
Nice.
lion men of Moab, weren't we, Scotty? We were saying that Ken Ami, he would know all about the lion men of Moab. But Kevin, we're at the end of the show, brother. Any final thoughts for the audience out there, bro? Whoa, okay
Well,
then. Listen, TFR, we're all going to be back next week. Have a great one. Stay tuned for
Share
Brent
the
Thomas.
giggles.
Share the giggles. Enjoy the woo. Wherever you are, make it TFR. There we go, there we go. Now we've got a couple of minutes. We'll wrap it up on here as well. So, Kev, yeah, back to you, brother. Did Naysay disappear? Has he been cut off?
Oh, I thought I muted myself.
There
and so
you
I
go,
was looking
bro.
for the unmute button.
You're back, man. Any final thoughts, Kev?
Well, it is 2021 as they have declared in the illusion being real. And we can always take the opportunity at any moment to find the positive attitude. And I think with what we've gone through, helping each other find this positive attitude is well worth it, considering what do we have to look forward to? Another Freaky Friday with the Woo Crew. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and support Bakersville so we can get out of the Wookiee cave.
And into the woods with the caverns. Ooh, Scotty, Kev. What a show. That was brilliant, guys. And a big shout out to you, Ken. All good that you missed it, bro. I know what it's like, dude. I skip from channel to channel as well. But listen, while you're here, you were another real highlight of 2020 as well. I'm looking forward to doing more shows with you as well, Ken. Really smart guy. Really good take on things. And you want to see some deep knowledge on the Bible and things, guys. Boy, oh boy. Ken Ami, he's your man. Visit his website. Get a hold of his multiple books. Ken, you're going to have to bring on William Ramsey, and we'll talk about a whole heap of topics. We'll get into Crowley. We'll go here, there, and everywhere, man. Scott, final thoughts for the brilliant people out there. And we've got a super chat coming in. Awesome.
Nice. I'll wait till the super chat kicks in.
We'll wait for it to come. It's from more Ron. Yep. I run. I do run. Is it?
How dare you?
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
Always delivering good woo. May 2021 be your worst ever. PPP, great job Scott and Niece, much love chat.
Much love to you, Moron. 555. Wasn't that what? Remember when we used to? Well, okay, I'm not gonna share the blame there. Remember when I used to do shows with the ambassador? And that was saying, forget 666, it's 555. Booga booga, and those thousands of ninjas, and then you had Ben Fulford with his white dragons and white ninjas and white hats, and great times, man, great times. No wonder I drink during a show, I'm telling you.
Look, it was a much simpler time.
You were there the day, no, Scott, you were there the day that Joe done it, remember? Kev, Gwen's come to me with a guest, but I think you'd be right up your street. You were there. You witnessed that happen.
Was I? I might have been.
Positive, because he was sitting saying, you know, I've looked at the show and it's not for me, it's more woo-woo stuff. This guy's like the ambassador to an ancient family of dragons out of China. Me, back in the day, I was like, oh, he had me at ancient. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hey, look, you got to admit, though, look, it was a much simpler time. And you got to admit the LARPs and the grifts were much more creative.
Oh, big time, dude. Big time, dude. I helped launch that LARP. I had like 500,000 views on that video, dude. Oh man, but it was good woo. It was great woo. It was before the blue chickens had even come along. Red dragons out of China. Come on, man.
Well, that want of believing can be so strong that we find ourselves getting rid of our own discernment and critical thinking because...
You know what makes me laugh though, Kev? That Joe Joseph, right? I don't know how he kept a straight face when he was saying it. Because he knew. Because he knew. He knew with his guest came great grifting and much ridicule. And he knew, and he passed it off as if he was doing me a favour. Bastard.
Hey. It's a typical Joe Joseph maneuver.
He messaged me today. He's doing all right. Yep.
I've been wondering how he was doing.
I miss the big man. I do miss the big man, Scotty. But at the same time, when I spoke to him, it's like speaking to Joe from like maybe 5-6 years ago. He's got like spring back in his step. He's doing his thing. He's out with Joey out in the garden, and they were like burning stuff and.
You know, sometimes people gotta take a break and recharge. We've all had to do it. I'm kind of in the process of doing it. I haven't been on social media, or I haven't been on social media anywhere close to the amount I used to be on social media ever since our incident at Facebook.
Thank you, Zook.
Yeah, Zuck actually kind of did us a favor, I think, and forced us to maybe unplug a little bit, and that was good. But yeah, I mean, you know, final words for everybody here. I hope everybody has an excellent 2021. I hope it goes a lot better for everybody. We've all been dealing with all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, you know, not just that one thing that has been going on throughout the whole year, but that has caused a snowball effect in other things as well. And it just seems like it was just one thing stacked on top of another. And it just seemed like, I don't know, it was really, really weird.
Well, I want to thank both of you boys, because I think we've done near enough every week this year. We've missed a couple of Fridays, but you guys have improvised, adapted, and overcame as well, because we've had to kind of alter some of the language we use. I've had to remind Kevin before shows, and he probably thinks I'm really cheeky, but I have to remind him like what topics we can and can't talk about, because we simulcast. And to the audience as well, I know that you appreciate that we had to kind of alter things a little bit, but to you guys in particular, because Scotty, you had improvised way before. I didn't even have to say anything to you. You were already using code words before anything happened, So thank you guys, because I don't know, there's something about freaky when you do it on YouTube as well. And by the way, Jimmy Jeans was telling us tonight, we were number 5 on TalkStream Live. We were like neck and neck with Clyde Lewis on there. Now, just to give people an idea of the amount of people that tune into the show, I was unaware until Jimmy showed me yesterday where TFR is on the rankings on there. Yeah.
We definitely need to give TalkStream Live more of a shout out.
Well,
You know,
I'll
if
tell you, I'll be honest with you. When Jimmy told me, I thought, nah. And then he kept saying it, and I thought, well, I'm going to pull up the website. It's got the top 20 shows at the time. If I come over it, well, I'll pull it up first. Talk Stream Live.
It's cool though.
Oh,
I
it's
mean, that's
very
cool.
cool. No, it's very cool, but sometimes I forget how many people can be listening at times. And there you go, front page. Clyde Lewis, and there's TFR right behind it now. And you get the top 20. One of 15 here. So you're at the top 15 are in here. And we're on the front page, you know.
Got the Fringe FM up there. So our buddy Ryan Gable is he's in the mix.
Yeah. Clyde.
Wow.
We're on the same page as Michael Savage. Not bad.
And Mark Levin. Hey.
So
well, the one thing that I really appreciate,
Scott, right?
That actually is kind of significant.
Very. What do you think, Kev? Are you impressed with that?
Well, the one thing that I always appreciate, Kev, you know, with letting me join the two of you is the comfortableness of it has always seemingly been there. You know, and it was just kind of like learning the steps and learning the dance, because I don't do the streaming, even though I'm, you know, trying to rectify that situation, you know, but it's just like a flow. And I do enjoy that we get into these flows, you know, and we keep light of it. You know, we don't get super serious, even though every now and then we won't go into Naysay's dark dreams anymore.
But we do. We're subtly intertwining the craziness with the fun craziness, so it all works. Listen, folks, I'm gonna wrap it up here. We're like after 3 a.m. But big thank you to everyone. Big thank you. Really good seeing you, Ken and me. Great to see you here, brother. I enjoy watching what you're doing on Twitter as well, and one of the people I follow. So, folks, listen, from me anyway, have a great 2021, and I hope it's as crazy, if not crazier, than last year. And you know me, I'm looking forward to this year, because I really, really do think there's a lot of things to look forward to. Sure, a lot of changes happening, but hey, improvise, adapt, and overcome, and if all else fails, Bakerville, Speculation Island, compounds in the woods, it's always an option, right? So, Scott, hey, I'll let you say goodbye to your arduous fans, boys, before I switch on the music and get us out of here.
Have a good one, everybody. And like I said, let's try to, we'll see how 2021 plays out. It can be an exponential curve into more craziness on the bad side, or it could be an exponential curve into craziness on the good side.
Crazier it gets, Kevin. My hat is turning sideways as we go. I'm at 3 o'clock now. I'm at 3 o'clock with my hat. I'm totally at 90 degrees with the front of my head. You're speaking to rapper Kev now. So, Kevin, we've done a lot more shows this year than we've ever done before, be it Freaky Friday or KBS. Thank you, bro, because you've been there when I've had tough days, no guests on and things, and you've been at the drop of a hat. So, thank you, man.
Chimigwich, Ape Gish, Minobimad Ziwe Wian. I love you, my brothers. Toodles.
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
Come on, man.
How dare you?
This is my meditation, love and light compound music. sitting plucking my sitar in the corner. Bing, bing, bing.
Freaky Friday.
It's the music. It's the music that plays when Kev comes out in his robe to meet all of his followers.
Love and light, Scott. Love and light.
With the Woo Crew. Bakersville.